Oh, okay, so that's different. Okay, we probably shouldn't. Yeah. Oh, okay. Sound, sound, sound. Stop moving. Sound. Hey, man. Wow. Okay, hey, YouTube told me I was live. I usually don't get those anymore. Let me also turn this down a little bit. Let's go like that. Let's go like that. You know, this camera has a feature that I've never really utilized until this last week. I realized I can flip the back of it up so I can actually like see myself while I'm recording. It's kind of weird because I see myself twice while I'm recording. Now, one of them looks better than the other. I actually get the product that doesn't look as good, but it's like a sweet feature. And actually, I'm sitting here saying this because I'm not using it right now. I should be, but I'm not. I'm trying to figure out how to use this camera. I had it for over like a year now, and I've just figured out how to use it. I'm watching tutorial videos. I'm like, this has to look better than what I'm doing. Anyways, we're live. Chat, can I get a 1 if y'all can hear me? Can I get a 1? Oh, we're going to dive into it, Patty. Patty, we're going to dive into it today, man. I got time today, as they say. But no, really, I had some preparation, not necessarily for this or what Brad Holmes told us, but I had preparation because I was kind of working on I appreciate the ones. What Jordy told me, what Jordy wanted to see. He was like, hey, can you do kind of this future type of video? I was like, oh, okay, I got you. And I was like, let me start to dive into that. So I've been diving into that. I'm like, you know what? After I spoke to Easy, I'm like, let me kind of make sense of the cap situation a little bit. So I started to dive into that, kind of put together my own little spreadsheet. So this is going to be perfect. Now, this is not perfect, but it's going to be perfect timing for what we're going to talk about today. My man Michael Banks is in the building. Hey, how you doing? Hey, I appreciate you. Shout out to the Hall of Famer himself. My man Matt Broder is here as well. Hey, what's up, man? It's good to see you in the chat. We've got to get you on the show again soon. It's been actually way too darn long. It's good to see you here, though. Appreciate all the ones. Let me make sure I didn't miss anything at the top of this here. Ranting Q, Michael Banks. I already missed that. Lions, Live Wire. Sorry, I can't read. DET Fan Man's in the building. My guy, what's going on? What's going on? Pat, hey, I don't know how to pronounce this. Guap Daddy? Oh, no, I actually know how to put 600. All right. How did you come up with that? You got about to get myself an Arnold jersey. All right, let's start here first. Let's get the ball rolling like this because this is a question that I do have. What if you could pick one jersey? All right. If you could pick one jersey to get from this year's draft class, it can be undrafted too if you want. I mean, you don't have to, but I guess it could be. That's your PSN name? Yeah, but you still came up with the name, though. You still came up with that name, though. But hey, but if you had one jersey that you could pick from any draft pick this season or undrafted free agent, who would that be? Chad, I'm telling y'all this morning, man, for like 30 minutes, I was just sitting here on the computer. Like, as soon as I saw the jerseys drop, I had like that urge of like, yo, I want to get a jersey. And I'm sitting here looking at different days. I couldn't even find them yet because they're not for sale yet, I guess. I couldn't find them on the website outside of Trequan Arnold. So Rakestraw Jr. That's the one that I wanted. I was like, all right, I'm going to get a Rakestraw Jr. one. I either want Rakestraw Jr. or I want a Sione Vaki jersey. Those are the two. For me, those are the two. But I really want to get a Rakestraw Jr. Missouri jersey. All right. So if anybody finds that, please send it to me. I haven't found one yet. I want to get that. And I want a Vaki Lions jersey because the Utah ones, they're all right. But also at the same time, like, I want to get one of the new Lions jerseys. So I want to get those two. That's my hope here. Trequan Arnold. Now, Trequan's going to be fire, especially with the 0, which I read today that he said basically no one's like me. So, and then he also had the quote about, kind of like jamming his mom off the line, which is a little crazy. It's a little wild, but hey, I mean, look, by all means, I don't know. That's, hey, yo, he's a dog. He's a dog. We'll leave it there. We know rookie minicamp is popping off now. You want a James Turner jersey? All right. I mean, look, it'd be unique. You're not going to find probably anybody else with that. I'm not mad at that. Hopefully he makes the team. If you get that jersey, I hope he makes the team. All right, because I know how tough that is. Agent 0, of course. I already read that. I don't know why I read that again. I think I did. CJ2 Jr. CJ2. Who is that? CJ2 Jr. Hold up. Who is that? What about a Betts? I haven't seen a Matthew Betts. No one wants a Betts. Egukan. You like Egukan? Okay. And he's getting a little guaranteed money. I think a 20K of that is guaranteed up front with like 225K. That's base salary guarantees. So he's potentially got some money on the way if he can stick on this, right? He's going to have to show some flexibility because the first question, and we're going to get to this, but the first question that was in here from a man, DET fan, man, I just saw this is back in 2020. You made a mock draft vid. Oh, man, hey, you've been around for a long time. Hey, I appreciate you. Man, this is good times, too. I did a mock draft vid with Nutane, and I don't even think it's pronounced Nutane. I think it's Nathani Mutai or something like that. I don't think it's Nitane. I think I've been saying Nitane all the time, but I don't think it's Nitane. I think it's like Nathani or something. Mutai, I'll have to get that right. As a third-round pick, now Mutai is on the roster as a depth offensive guard, and with new rookies, does Mutai even have a shot to land on the roster? Man, I'm not going to say he doesn't have a shot. I haven't seen enough of the player. All right, I've watched a little bit. Okay, I know he's extremely physical. He had a 44 bench press reps when he came out for the draft, which is absolutely insane. And he definitely went later than I think he ended up being a 6th-round pick. I won't say that doesn't have a chance to make the roster. I do think, and this was, if you guys remember coming into this, I was like, hey, the Lions did add some guards. Now, they went in the draft and they basically drafted 2 guards, depending on what they do with Gio, okay, depending on if they put Mono at tackle or if they leave him at guard, depending on what they do there, and I think he might actually go to guard. They kind of drafted 2 guards, but they had guys that could play those positions. So the only thing that's really going to separate, is obviously who plays the best in those spots, because they did bring KO back. They still have Kobe Sorsel, who did play right tackle in college, but kicked in the guard. It's like, hey, who can bring flexibility? Can any of you play center? All right. Can Kingsley play center? Like that feels like going to be the separator, but at the same time, it feels very unlikely that either Christian, definitely Manu's going to make the roster. It feels unlikely that either of those guys aren't going to. So that next piece, because now we're getting limited on spots, like, you need some real flexibility, because we're probably also going to want to keep a guy that can play some tackle. So if you can show you can play some tackle, which might be Colby Sorstel, and then another piece on we might have like 9 offensive linemen each game. Now I'm thinking about it a lot. We might have like 9 offensive linemen that we come to each week on the roster, which makes guys like Vaki potentially a lot more valuable, that he could play multiple spots, because you could be loaded in terms of the amount of offensive linemen that you have. Okay. Anyways, that's off topic, but I won't count him out. I mean, look, he could probably bring some of the things that Mahogany brings to the table that we like. Maybe not as much as a Polar, but just the physicality, the people moving ability, the ability to play beyond the line of scrimmage. Like, he probably can bring some of those similar aspects that we like about Mahogany as well. Nice sweater. I appreciate it. Hey, this sweater is fire. Shout out to Dose of Dad for this one. This one's clean. I love this one. Lions jersey. Neon Lions jersey. Yeah, for me, I want Rakestraw. I want a Rakestraw Missouri one, though. I love how those jerseys, if I could find a way to get that, I love how those looks. And then also, I want to get a Vaki one. If I'm going to get a Lions one, I take a Rakestraw one, but I want to get a Vaki one. I think Vaki would be nasty. I think he's going to be so nasty, bro. I'm like so bought in. As time goes on, I continue to get more and more bought in. Like, this guy's going to be insane as a Lion. I think as a running back, he's going to be so nasty. I'm telling y'all. And look, this graphic that we put together, which isn't really a graphic, it's like a spreadsheet. But, when you look at the future outlook at running back in Montgomery in 2026, I believe it is, no longer under contract, depending on what we do there, like, that could be really your future. Like Gibbs and Vaki, like, he's going to open up flexibility for us. He's going to be a great backup, because we really haven't had like a natural backup to Jahmyr Gibbs. We've kind of every year like added one of those guys, I always forget the guy's name out of the LA, but we kind of would add those guys like right before the season. So this is going to be a great fit. It's going to be excellent. Manu sounds like he wants to take someone's spot. Cough, cough. Dan Skipper. Hey, and you know what though? Credit to Dan, bro. Like, I got nothing against Dan Skipper. This dude has gotten better and better. He's actually making it work. Dude's made it at work at guard, but he's found a way to make it work, and he's improved at the tackle position. Like, he's not coming off like where I got a bad taste in my mouth. If anything, it's like, hey, he's going the right direction. He's trending the right direction. Like, I got a lot of love for Dan Skipper, and he steps into that 6 offensive lineman role. He handles that. The Lions didn't bring back Matt Nelson, so they have some real buy-in with Dan Skipper. I assume Manu's going to make it, but I also would not be shocked if offensive lineman number 9 was Dan Skipper, just because he's at, and the Lions, if we are being fair on this, like, the Lions have at that backup tackle position for years. I was like, oh, go draft the backup tackle. And initially, because I didn't know who Manu was, I was like, oh, he's a backup tackle. And he still could be, absolutely could be that. He has the length. He did it in college. But when you watch him, it's like this guy could make it work, I think, a lot quicker at guard. However, if they do view him as more of a guard, like, the Lions haven't really invested in a backup tackle yet. Like, they've kind of just rolled with their 2, and their backup tackle has really been like, it's Matt Nelson or it's Dan Skipper, and they've kind of just rolled with those guys. And it wouldn't shock me again if they were like, hey, yo, Dan Skipper's that backup offensive tackle, because they bought into them, and they've also bought into the development where I want to get this correct. And chat, we're going to dive into these things. I got the clips and stuff pulled up, but I wanted to dive into this real quick, or not dive into this, but it's hitting my mind right now. When Evan Brown joined the Lions, what year was that? Let's see. He joined the Lions in 2020. Okay, so no, that would have been, I wonder if there was a gap there. So he was with the Lions 2020, 2021. Okay, so that was the last regime. I just wondered. I was like, was that like a developmental thing? But we know that he developed into a pretty solid offensive line for us. Like, they buy into the development is what I'm trying to say at offensive line, but they're also cool with it taking that time. Like, these guys, and I think that's kind of like where you see guys like Kobe Sourcewell, like they're okay with that. Like, hey, it's going to take some time, but they're really all in with like, hey, give them some time at offensive line. And then ultimately they develop into pieces that they keep around. So that's pretty cool. And now we have like real legitimate investments, because me and Rab were talking before this, and Chad, we're going to get right on soon. I didn't hear that from him, but trust me, we will. All right. Cause I talked to him today, but Kobe Sourcewell, if you look at that, or not Kobe Sourcewell. Wait, hold up. What was I going to say? I kind of forgot what I was going to. Oh yeah, no. Kobe Sourcewell was really the only draft pick by the Lions on offensive line up until this season. So it still is something that's kind of new. Who's lying about that call? Is it okay? So Peanut, let me address this, because this is not something I kind of forgot about this. Let me address this, and then we'll get into this stuff today. And chat, if y'all have anything you want me to talk about, throw in the chat. If I know of the player or I've seen him, I'll talk about it. If I haven't, I'll tell you I haven't yet. But this is interesting. So I posted this on X when we saw, if he doesn't know what Peanut's referring to, basically the Raiders, according to Terry and Arnold, he said that they had a coin flip, and it ended up going with Brock Bowers over Terry and Arnold with their spot at 13. Then afterwards, and it was kind of in like a jokey manner. The clip that I had heard was the Raiders basically saying like, oh no, we actually do it like in another way. And it was like a joke. But then he was basically like, we had a small group and we made that decision that we were going to take Brock Bowers if he was going to be available in that spot. So after speaking, kind of hearing different ideas about this, I talked to Joseph Dad about this, and he thought that maybe this was one of the things that the Raiders just kind of told him as like, hey, yo, Teron Arnold, we're just kind of saying this to you, because, maybe we had a lot of conversations before, but we went a different direction. So we're just kind of saying this like, oh man, it was a coin flip, but just happened to go that way. So I think it could be kind of like, maybe that's what they said, and that's not exactly what took place. That would make sense. Like Jordy's saying, I assume it's an expression. So like that would make sense. And I heard someone else kind of dive into it, and they were like, yo, I mean, could this be that, one player like Pierce or somebody else wanted him, and there was maybe a divide where like part of the group of the front office actually wanted Arnold, and the other part of the front office was like, yo, we got to take Brock Bowers. He's a better player. And maybe Brock Bowers is more of the GM decision on that. Like, was there a little bit of a divide there between who they actually wanted? So the reason that you would reach out to a cornerback after the draft was because you actually, maybe he had interest in that corner, specifically Antonio Pierce, because I don't know why you'd reach out to guys after that. I don't know if that typically happens. Maybe it does. I mean, you probably have good connections with these guys. So overall, like it's an interesting spot. Regardless, I would hope as a fan that they didn't literally use a coin flip. I'd be like, what are we doing? Like, I'd be pretty disgusted if a team used a coin flip to actually pick a player. But at the same time, I think it's however it happened, whatever happened to make it work out where this guy got to the Lions and got into a reasonable position to actually go get him. Thank you very much. Thank you. Okay. Question. Are you buying Holmes hyping up Antoine Greens, or just deflecting doubt? Okay, so no, this is interesting because receiver's been the one position that and every time I've talked to someone, I've asked them their thoughts on this, and I don't know that my thoughts have like drastically changed. Like, I still feel like the receiver position for us, like, one, it's going to be a lot about Jameson taking off. Like Jameson Williams, thank you I appreciate it. Jameson Williams is in a spot where it's like, hey, you're going to step up for us now. Okay, it's your time to do that, right? We invested a first round pick, so we're relying on that. Obviously, we paid St. Brown, and he's kind of both. So to be fair, he plays a lot out wide. He's not just a slot receiver, and we know that. But it is kind of like, who's that number 3 now? Because Josh was a legitimate part of this offense, and he wouldn't go for 1,000 yards, but he'd probably give you 500 to 600 yards, and you could kind of rely on that. So where's that going to come from now? The thing with Antoine Green that I had an issue about when he was coming out was route running. I thought that was a problem. I did think, though, that he was a legitimate vertical threat. I thought he was legit with the ball in his hands. Like, there were aspects he could track the football vertically. I think he brings some of that we lose with Josh, because I thought with Josh, one of the biggest things we lost is not only football intelligence, but you lost a guy that could track the football really well. It's like one of the knocks that I had for J-Mo last year. Like, you lost a guy that can consistently track the football down the field when you lost Josh Reynolds. And Antoine Green, I think, can bring some of that back. But I will say, Trequan Smith, who we have not really talked about over here. I've talked about it on Bleacher Report, but I've watched him. I've done like 4 games on him. Trequan Smith, don't overlook it. Like, the idea that the former 3rd-round pick that spent multiple years with the New Orleans Saints, we haven't seen him recently. I don't think he played last season. I think he was either on a practice squad or he was injured for a majority last season. I could double check on that somewhere here in my notes. Actually, let me do that right now because I'm just sitting here. So what was it? Trequan Smith. Okay, actually, it's not my notes. It's not somewhere where I can find it. I'll find it. But that was a guy that kind of gave me vibes of like a Jalen McMillan type who came out this year out of Washington. Like, you have that piece. We obviously have Donovan Peoples-Jones, which, one thing that we do talk about, and I think we should talk about this with Easy, which is, we've seen right before, camp, you started getting cuts and you'll get certain better receivers that become available. Maybe that guy becomes available in the Lions like, hey, let's go pull the trigger. Let's go get him. They have the cap space clearly to do that. Or the second thing is, and we don't know exactly where the cap space is because we have some new deals popping in. Or the second thing is sometimes, that's a trade. And we've seen over the last few seasons, whether that be Denzel Mims or Trinity Benson, they've made trades right before the season. Now, neither of those guys have been big like moves that they've made. They've been kind of like, okay, we don't want that guy to become available. So we've went out and got those pieces for late round picks. But we could also, I think, look at Donovan Peoples-Jones in kind of a similar light, right? Like they traded for him last year, but I guess it was kind of similar because when they added him, they said it was mainly for depth. Now, Donovan Peoples-Jones as well, they liked him enough to re-sign him. So they didn't, it's not like Peoples-Jones stepped into a major role, balled out, and were like, yo, you got to sign the guy. It was like, okay, he came along and started to be effective when he was on the field, but he had like 8 receptions. I mean, there was nothing really, I don't even know if he had 2 receptions in a single game, maybe at most. So the aspect is they liked the player then, and they were willing to invest in him, not a ton of money, but they were willing to bring him back, similar to a guy like Mosley, who did not play, but they were willing to bring him back based on what they had known formerly. So I think we have to kind of put him in the same boat as well to what we had done in the past, maybe even a little bit of a larger investment now with Donovan Peoples-Jones. I do think that's kind of an interesting way to look at it. But overall, you have basically, to me, 3 guys that are legitimately in that competition for that body type. And I do think for the Lions, even watching it back today, look, they're a team that they live in condensed splits. They love to play between the numbers. We know where Goff is comfortable. They just need guys that consistently beat man coverage. And let me do this because we're on the topic of it. And I was actually just jotting down numbers before we got on here. So this is going to be perfect. Just keep this in mind. Chat, I'm going to get to more things here. This is just fresh. So let me tell y'all. So Trequan Smith over the last few seasons, going back to 2022, because that's when we really saw him. Trequan Smith, 2022, against man coverage. 7 receptions on 11 targets, over 100 yards, a touchdown, and 87.3 pass rating. Solid. 2021 versus man coverage. 15 receptions on 22 targets, 200 yards, 3 touchdowns, a 136.4 pass rating when targeted in man coverage. 2020, he had 10 receptions on 16 targets, 147 yards, a touchdown, and a 113 pass rating when targeted. So small sample size. Former 3rd-round pick. He's one of these guys, and I have some notes that we could read through, but tracking ability, size, you see those types of things in his game. There's inconsistency, I thought, with his hands. Racks up a ton of touchdowns with Josh Reynolds. It's another aspect that we're losing as well. So are they going to do it by committee? Maybe, but I think it's going to be difficult just because, you're going to have to hold so many receivers to do that. So someone's going to emerge within this group. And I think for the Lions, it's not only just now, but it's also the future. That is a position I think the Lions are going to be willing going forward to say, hey, we can kind of let a player emerge here. We don't maybe look at this and saying we have to have a number 2 that's legit. We don't need that on this team. And I could see the Lions looking at it that way. They could also just like who they have. Could the Lions sit there and like Donovan Peoples-Jones more than Tyler Boyd? Yes, they're different players, but they could also like the more physicality. And if you look at where Peoples-Jones won last season, he won against man coverage. He won off the press. And those were some of the things that Josh Reynolds struggled with, but he won in those spots. So they could like these guys, a few of them a little bit more, but it also could be like, hey, we're going to allow one of these guys to emerge, because typically it feels like with Brad Holmes, usually when they draft somebody outside of maybe Chase Lucas, even Jermar Jefferson got some carries. In Jermar, I thought did well. We don't have to go down that road. But the point is, they're usually going to let these guys, if they bring them in, get an opportunity to actually work into a role and prove themselves for a role. And I think for the Lions, even long-term, when you look at this with Jared Goff, let's just say, because we're going to talk about that, they could say, hey, look, man, we're paying your slot receiver. The focus is we have to give your offensive line there. We got your tight end, who's usually going to be working between the numbers. We got your back, who's dynamic, that can kind of help offset the fact that you don't have a lot of mobility. But that guy, you just check it down, he's ridiculous after the catch. We have the guys that are going to eat middle field. We still have Khalif Raymond. Let's not forget that one. I always forget Khalif. He's in a different body type, but go back to the LA Rams 2021. That guy was doing workout wide, and we didn't have any receivers. And we saw Goff be successful as soon as they got Josh. Obviously, we lost Josh. But now you have JMO, right? Now you have St. Brown, who's developed into one of the best. Now you have Laporta and Gibbs. So I think that the Lions right now on paper, you can't make an argument that they've upgraded over Josh Reynolds. No chance. Not from what we've seen so far. I don't think there's anything out there to make you really believe that, outside of going back multiple years to when Peoples-Jones really popped. But to be honest with you, at the same time, I can see where the Lions maybe don't view that they necessarily need that and need to put that kind of huge investment in it. But I also think that it wouldn't shock me that they just like those guys. It would not, because they love their draft picks. For the most part, they draft a guy, they're going to give him an opportunity. They're going to leave an opportunity open. It's kind of like on Madden. If I draft a guy, right, I got to trade somebody. That way, eventually he can get snaps. He's got to eventually have a role he can step into. All right, that's a lot of talking. We can revisit that. I'm sorry. Because I missed a couple things here. Yo, Dion, where do you stand with Isaiah Washington? I love Isaiah Washington. So Isaiah Washington, the interesting thing about him is he was a guy that I had above a few guys that got drafted towards the end of the draft. I'd have to look at my notes I can't remember who it was, but I know I had him above a few guys that actually got drafted this year. I liked Isaiah Isaiah Williams. Hold up. Now, whatever it is, receiver out of Illinois. The thing about him, obviously, it's a very different body type. He did a lot of work kind of as that gadget piece, right? A lot of beneath routes, a lot of behind the scrimmage, a lot of slot work, a lot of run after catch, which I believe he led the Big Ten in yards after catch this past season. I don't think he's elite with the ball in his hands, but he has returning background. He's good there. He's good in that area. He's tough. You know, you'll see those things. I just don't think his vision and patience is always there. But I also think his separation ability is legitimate upside. The quickness, the foot quickness, the route strength, which is key, especially for a guy that's a little bit undersized. Like, he brings some of that. He also brings a lot of savvy to the position. So for me, and he's bad in contested situations, he's just a very clear, different body type. So it's, I mean, if we just did in our head, like, we know Jamo's going to be here. We know Saint's going to be here. And then after that, you know, Khalif's going to be here. He's got another season beyond that with the extension. After that, right, it's kind of open, I would say, right? You assume Donovan Peoples-Jones has probably got the next leg up, right? And then maybe Antoine Green. And then you got 5, and if the Lions want to go 6, it's Trequan Smith versus Isaiah Williams versus, who's Tom Kennedy. Of course, got to throw Tom Kennedy in there. They got Fountain for the Chicago Bears. They got, I'm forgetting names, but I mean, look, if they're willing to go with the body type as a player, I would not be shocked if we always have kind of like that guy, right? In preseason, we all see where everybody kind of falls in love with. To me, that'll probably be the guy that everybody falls in love with, either him or Trequan Smith, because Trequan's a legitimate piece. He's been a legitimate player in limited reps. Trequan Williams, okay, there you go. Hey, it's all good. It's all good. I was like, yo, okay, I think I'm saying it. It's fine. We know who you're talking about. One of those two will probably pop in free agency, I think, for fans, or not free agency, in preseason for fans, because Trequan can make those big time plays that you'll have Sudfeld and you'll have hopefully Hooker being willing to push the football. But Isaiah Williams is he's such a competitor. Like, that's the kind of guy that you'll hear stories about when OTAs start on May 21st. Like, you'll hear stories about oh, this guy one-on-ones was eating. Like, he gives me those vibes. He's that kind of competitor. So I think he has a real opportunity to make the team. What up, Doe? I'm interested in seeing how the coaches get these guys going. Thanks for the live stream. Absolutely. Thanks for being here. Do you think Jamo breaks out this year? Finally have a full offseason. That helps a ton. I mean, he has to, I guess. I mean, this is the year to do it. I mean, this is your time, right? I mean, you invested a 12th pick at the draft. Any other time you throw a 12th pick, you're hoping that dude's going to be that dude. So I would say yes, just because he's going to get the opportunities. What Jameson was able to do towards the end of the season is so inspiring, I think, in belief, because what he did at the end of the year, San Fran, I thought he still left that out over the shoulder kind of deep pass. I think it hit him in the hands. It was oh my goodness, that would have changed the game, dude. But outside of that, he still came along really well towards the end of the season. Even if it wasn't always there statistically, you just saw it like within the route running and the timing and his ability to kind of hit spots. And you were like, okay, this is actually connecting with Goff. So to me, that he's going to have all the opportunities in the world. And really, to me, it was a strength. It was coming down with the ball in tough situations. It was battling. When he started to do that pass that he had against San Fran, where he basically just kind of lost the ball in the air and then he snatched it back. I was like, oh, snap. That's what you need right there, because he's not built. He needs to have that dog in him. And we got to see that dog come out that the Lions talked about when they drafted him playing on special teams. So I would bet on it. I would bet that he has a very productive season, because he's going to get the opportunity to do so. It's just, he's going to have to find a way to be very efficient in ways that connect Goff well. You're going to get the vertical shots. He dropped one wide open pass though. So I would only do it in the big games. Okay. I might miss in there. You may pull back on the expectation for how many vertical shots you're going to consistently live with him, but what should rise is where can make his money kind of in that intermediate range, and he should be able to do that. And I think that's what we got to see last year. That's why I would buy in. Dion, what's up? Just a fan. How you doing? Dose, would you add a guy like Renfro or Marquise Goodwin? So Renfro, was he even on a team last year? He might have been on the Raiders last year, but I feel like he wasn't even on a team last year. So I don't know about Renfro, honestly. That one just doesn't seem like something they would go after. Marquise Goodwin, that's interesting. I don't think that'd be bad for competition. I don't hate that body type for what they're kind of leaving the door open for. I wouldn't hate something like that. I think that kind of body type, I think they're cool with the guys that they have. But yeah, they've been willing to, do it. Like we said, they've been willing to just go get a guy right before cuts or trade deadline, or not trade deadline, trade for a piece right before the season. So someone like that. Is Juwan Jennings available? Juwan Jennings is under contract though, right? Are you talking about by trade Juwan Jennings? Because he's under contract, I think. He's not a free agent. I was just looking at the free agent. That guy ain't a free agent. Nah, he can't be a free agent. He has officially signed. Okay, no, he's not a free agent. So he's back for this is last year. I mean, Juwan Jennings is a heck of a player, bro. Juwan Jennings was a heck of a player. Oh, he's restricted free agent. Okay. Look, he was a heck of a player last year. I ain't mad at it. Look, I ain't gonna be like, don't do it. I'm not mad at that. I'm not mad at that. But that kind of goes against what I just said about like, and I don't think you should close the door to opportunity, but it kind of goes against what I just said about like Brad Holmes is going to find a way. The Lions want to find a way for guys they invest in. If it's not insane, it was a draft pick for Green. It was a draft pick for Peoples-Jones. Like, there's going to be a potential spot for you to earn. There's a reason you were brought back. There's a reason you were added to this team, even if that's the bottom of the roster. So there's gonna be opportunity there. I like the jacket. Hey man, the jacket. Hey yo, the jacket's fire. I ain't gonna lie, it's my favorite jacket too. Do you think we can break into top 10 points allowed, bro? Okay. We're gonna start to dive into this Goff thing because I'm really pumped about this. But yo, this whole idea, like for real, this idea, like I'll hear it like, yo, Lions defense is trash. I'm like, bro, what are we talking about? I don't need to go down this whole path. But look, we can stop the run. And give Aaron Glenn a lot of freaking credit for this because the Lions were doing this with, a solid interior defensive line. But they were doing a lot of this schematically, shutting down teams' run. They were taking that out. And then last season for a while was, man, we're not forcing turnovers. All of a sudden, CD Deuce comes back. Your safeties are healthy. And the safeties are the guys taking the ball away. We didn't have guys that were consistently taking the ball away, I thought, at cornerback. I mean, you had the stretch there for Jerry, which was really strong. Cam Sutton, I think, gave you one. You had a little bit there. But like the safeties were the guys that were seemingly taking the football away. Now, to me, you have corners that have ball skills. That's where Terrion thrives. Rakestraw, it's mainly the anticipation for me there. You have got Brian Branch, we know has those. Like you have those guys, you could already stop the run. To me, absolutely. This, and here's the thing, you got a legitimate offense. And the Lions are offensively, and it's always gonna be different every game. We know Dan Campbell will do that. But Dan Campbell's not going to go into a game against a high-scoring team and say, let's try to make this a shootout. Like, no, he's going to be like, all right, let's pull it back. Let's run the football. Like, that's what he wants to do. So, like, that's going to help the defense. There'll be certain games where maybe it kind of flips on its head, but it's going to help the defense because Dan Campbell won't just consistently play the style of, let's see if we can outscore this team. That ain't how he wants to win, man. He's cool with winning like we did against Kansas City 21-20. I'm cool with that. And so, yeah, no, I think our defense is going to take a massive jump this season. Our offense could even take a step back. Our defense is going to take a massive step, and hopefully it balances itself out. Can you ever convince Easy Goff is a very good quarterback, or is that metaphysical impossible? Yo, I don't even know how to read that. I think so. It's one of these things where in time you can kind of do it. Like, I feel like we've gotten somewhere with Rad. Partially, Goff is just doing his thing and we're winning football games. Like, that's going to make people believers. I think over time, like we're just now getting Rad on here. In the last show, he was like, hey, I'm not even like a Goff hater, basically. Like, I'm not a Goff lover, but I'm not a hater. I'm cool with Goff. I'm just going to enjoy it. And it was like, yo, we're here, right? We're taking these steps. He's not there yet. Ranking Jordan Love above Goff. That's insane. He's not there yet, but we're getting somewhere. We're going to get there easy. We're going to get there. Yo. All right. Let's do this. We got to talk about this. What is our reasonable expecting for the defense this year? Can I expect to make quarterback Anthony Richardson? I mean, look, I didn't think Anthony was that great last season, and I loved the draft pick. I was at every Colts home game. I didn't think Anthony was great last season when he was out there. The dude's extremely dynamic. He made some awesome plays off schedule, hit some tight ends down the field. They also continue to just add freakish athletes every single draft. So you're going to get a lot of off-schedule stuff, and they have one of the best minds, all right, over there for the offensive side. Gardner Minshew was great. I thought Gardner Minshew was a dog. I was like, this guy's awesome. So happy for him getting his deal. I didn't think Anthony was great, though, last season. But it's hard because that offense is so clean. Here's what I'll say. Offenses like that, where they're very efficient, and again, Minshew did so much off schedule. Throw Green Bay into this. Throw Houston. Like these types of offenses, I would even throw San Fran. This is where you're going to see the biggest impact of the Lions really diving into we need cornerback help. Carlton Davis, Terrion Arnold, Rakestraw. Like these guys are going to shake it up for us because I believe we legitimately have guys that can stick in man. They're not going to be perfect, but they're going to be more reliable. And the Lions will feel comfortable saying, let's lean in man here. Let's lean in man against this team. Because what we see with the Lions. Like we've seen this personally as Lions fans. When we usually have real struggles as an offense, they're typically sitting in some sort of man coverage and we're not consistently getting open. And then the pressure starts to break through. Or usually like cover 3 against like Chicago, sometimes Green Bay. But that shakes teams, man. As well as these offense flow, you take away option 1 and everybody's manned up, and it's not an instance of this guy's open because this coverage leaves that open, which most teams are going towards, and that's great for the Lions because they've been great there. But you start to take that away, and it's not as simple as like, oh, hey, go to this guy. It's like you have to just go win. Now all of a sudden, I think you shake everything up. So certain offenses, I think we're going to see it more than others. I think the Lions are pretty creative on defense. I'll say this. The issue that I had with the Lions defensively was I thought that there were too many times where they would buy in too much of what they had. Like Aaron Glenn would be too aggressive for what I thought personnel wise we actually had. And we get into spots where we were doing things that it was just like, this isn't necessary. We shouldn't be playing single high coverage and having our cornerbacks on an island like this. Like you're not playing great odds here in this spot, right? I understand you believe in your guys, and I think that's a great problem to have, but I thought we played into that too often. Now, obviously, he has a way he wants to play, but I will say as well, like to give Aaron Glenn credit, he has mixed up. Like there's every game, most games you'll see different coverage types. We saw last year them start to shift more to zone. They play into their personnel. Like he's been willing to change up schematically. We know that he likes to blitz on third down and play man coverage, and I don't have an issue with that. But I think the issue is when we rely on like trying to kind of like CeeDee Lamb. It was like, okay, we're just going to keep playing him one-on-one. We kept putting him on Sutton, and it was like, okay, I understand that you think this is going to work, but it's not working. We have to really get away. We have to kind of like put more towards this. This just isn't working. So I understand the belief there. But if you sometimes don't have that matchup piece, I think that's where we got too stagnant. We kept being aggressively just kind of like, we're going to believe that this guy's going to make the play. And it was like, we're just not making the play. What up, Dose? What up, though? Hey, how you doing, man? Okay, Carlton. What is this? Slot. I think slot nickel is going to be, I think Rakestraw is going to be going to compete for slot. And actually, we heard today that he was getting a lot of his reps there. I think Rakestraw is going to do that. One, because I don't think his play speed is the same as his play speed isn't the same as Terran. Even though they run similar 40s, I don't think they play at the same speed, specifically as things get vertical. I think you start to get hit and miss results. Lad McConkey at times could break free vertically, level 3 routes. I think he'll compete there because what he'll allow is Brian Branch to start to kick to more safety, and he'll be able to move in and out. It won't just be like, hey, they have 2 or 3 tight ends, but Branch, you got to stay on the field, which just puts you to safety. It'll now be the ability to say, hey, they still have 3 receivers. Branch, though, there's going to be real competition. Like, hey, maybe we like you better in this spot than, say, Kirby Joseph. We're going to put you out there because you give us some real flexibility. We know you have the range. That guy was awesome from safety, too. Let's not forget. I mean, he was awesome in both spots. He's just so smart, plays so fast. We're going to do that. And now, Rakestraw, you can kick in and get snaps. You'll play in the nickel for us here. And all of a sudden, we'll feel good about that. That's not saying Meek can't do it, but I think we like a Meek out wide. I personally like a Meek more out wide from what I've seen so far. So that's kind of how I'm looking at it. And then you also have, obviously, the guy, Emmanuel Mosley and Kendall Vilder, which is awesome depth. Do you think Mosley will even make the team with Gilmore? I think Gilmore's probably most likely out personally. That's not good. People are not going to let me say that. I think Gilmore, if I was betting right now, and I could be wrong, man, I like Dorsey too, bro. Like, yo, it's a low. And here's the thing. Here's where you have to give credit, though, to Gilmore. Gilmore stuck around. I think you may have been our only UDFA from what I was going through that actually did not get cut. So he still has that original 3-year deal. Like, he literally can play. He literally still is under contract for multiple years. Most guys get cut, they get brought back. He didn't. So, like, to me, man, I don't know. They like him. Like, they like him. And then, Khalil Dorsey, he did a lot of good on special teams. I don't know that he popped that corner like they were hoping for him to. But he played, he played so well in the I thought he was our best corner in the preseason. And then you have, Kendall Vilder, who, I'm a fan of Kendall Vilder. All right, I am. But there's clear areas where, like, yo, you need to improve here. He's back with this defensive head coach now. He's got his coach back. But it's like, yo, we need to improve here. This has to take a step up, or this is just not going to work. You can almost kind of pull some of that back with Gilmore and Dorsey just because they haven't played enough. Plus, Gilmore was taking the football away in the preseason, so the ball skills are there. So there's a different skill set. With Vilder, it's like, he's going to be competitive. He's usually going to be pretty sticky. But if he's not making plays on the football, like that's an area where that just needs to improve. What is your starting 11 on this defense? All right, let's do this fast, and then we'll start going into this Goff situation. I have the clip. Appreciate everybody that's here. I would say starting, you're going to have DJ Reader. You're going to have him next to Aleem. You're going to have Aiden Hutchinson. You're probably going to have Josh Pascal on the opposite side. Let's go with the 3 receiver set because that's what we typically see. Alex Anzalone, Jack Campbell are going to be a backer. I'm going to put Brian Branch in a slot. I'm going to put Terry and Arnold out wide. I'm going to flip it around. I'm going to put Carlton Davis on the opposite side, and then Kirby and Iffy. But the one caveat there is, depending on where Kirby's at health-wise, I could flip Brian Branch, push out Kirby because I'm trying to get the best 11 and put Rakestraw into the slot. That would be kind of the shake that I could see there. Still scared of that. I mean, bro, that was so tough. He was in a great spot. It's just like, yeah. I mean, the thing that made that so bad is it wasn't that he didn't even catch it. Like, it's one thing if he doesn't catch, dang, okay. We see a lot of guys that can't catch like a DB, but it's the fact that it bounced right to the receiver. It was like, oh my, like if that doesn't happen, we're okay. Are we rotating a Meek and Arnold then? It's a good question. for me personally, I wouldn't. Like, I just think Arnold's that good. But knowing the Lions, like, it wouldn't surprise me if they did, because Amik can play on the outside and he could start. Honestly, though, here's the thing, though. If healthy, you can make a real case that out wide, you would go Mosley over Amik. Now, we got to see Amik more recently, so he'll have to reprove that. But based on what we've seen last of him, we could argue Emmanuel Mosley over him. So that's just the interesting thing there. So you have Terrion as cornerback 1. I would have Carlton Davis as cornerback 1. I would have Carlton as cornerback because I just know what I'm going to get. And like he said, like he's going to play in kind of where the quarterback's consistently going to throw percentage-wise. So I'd put Terrion as cornerback 2. A lot of people are questioning Arnold's long speed and ability to cover outside. Okay, I appreciate you bringing this up. Whoever is doing this needs to stop. Please stop. Stop studying line. Who is saying this? Who's saying this? Guys, I'm at, you know what? Hey, my next video, bro, I might just skip Wingo, who I was starting to kind of dive into because I was going to go backwards in order. We might just go to Terrion next. I've heard this a few times now. People are like, hey, yo, Terrion can't run. I'm like, bro, who is saying this? He ran a 4.5. Yes, he did. He did. But trust me, this is coming from a guy that thought Cam Sutton was going to have to play in the slot because I didn't think he had the vertical speed to play out wide. I thought that he was a slot corner when we signed him. If you go back and check out the video, this guy can play wide. All right. Based on all my pre-draft look at, the guy can play out wide. Okay. He plays a lot faster than that. He has the tracking speed. He's so twitchy in the lower body. Like, he's going to be good. He's going to be good. All right. He'll be good. At times, hey, maybe if you got a burner, you might need help. Maybe it's JMO. But man, trust me, he's going to be all right. But no, that's that. We might have to dive into that next for real. We might have to. Who covers JJ? Probably 2 guys, to be real with you. I mean, that's how we usually do it. That's how we usually. Carlton Davis, though. Carlton Davis actually played Just Jefferson pretty well. If I remember right, it wasn't perfect. They gave him help at times, but he had some really strong reps in that game. He made an awesome plant drive, break on the football, and a little deep out route. He actually played him pretty well, Carlton Davis did, and you're going to get from Davis. Davis will allow you to come in. Let's say we play Minnesota week 1, and you don't really know exactly what you're going to get from your rookies. You could put Carlton on him. You could honestly shadow him. But I don't know if I don't remember that he did that. I feel like he didn't shadow him. I think he shadowed him when he was wide, and then when he kicked into the slot, he passed him off. Out wide, though, let's say they shadowed him. You could do that, and then you could know your expectation of, okay, we need to give safety up or we don't, because we know what we're going to get out of this guy. Everybody else, you may not, you may not exactly know right away. You could be playing with fire depending on how much you're putting on him. Okay, so that is propaganda. Oh, hold up, what I do? Okay, no, we're good. Can we blame Glenn when our backfield is slow? Can we blame Glenn when our backfield is still slow? I mean, look, y'all can blame Glenn for whatever, bro. Here's the thing, and like I said, I blame Glenn for things, but I don't think Glenn's a bad defensive coordinator. Now, I think year 1, I was like, what the heck are we doing here? That being said, though, like when you start to see, like, you understand what he does, you know his tendencies. So I think that because of that, you just have to invest to that. So what I'm saying is, if you have a guy that's just going to really believe in his cornerbacks, you have to invest in those cornerbacks. That way he has his guys. Like, you have to get him the pieces then for him to play his way and make it work. And I think that's just what the Lions did this offseason with their additions. Will Goff get a 3 or 4 year extension at $52 million per year? That's the question, is how much is it? I assume that I don't think it'll get that high personally. I don't think it will, but I feel like when you get to the exact numbers, it's difficult. I assume it'll be between 45, 50 million, somewhere in that range a year. It could be, though. I mean, it could be 50, depending on how and they could set it up where, like Mahomes, who's got like 60 some million next year and 60 some after that. He could just push it back and maybe, it starts lower. That's typically how teams do it. But I don't know. I don't know that it gets that high, but 3 to 4 years, I could see it. Absolutely. I think if he gets extended, you'll probably see 3 to 4 years, just because he's a quarterback and he's only, is he pushing 30 now? Is he 30 now? He might be 30 officially. Okay. So we're going to do this. Shout out to 97 won the ticket. So they had this clip, and I'm going to use this just because they have the audio. We'll start with this, and this is really not the main part of this. I have a spreadsheet that I put together, which is going to show you guys kind of an idea of some of the numbers here that I put together. So it could be hit and miss in some spots. I'll kind of break that down. But this will give you an idea of paying Goff, because I really wanted to just get a sense of this. So this is what Brad Holmes said. I'll play this first. Give me a 1 once I start playing this, if y'all can hear it. That way I know, and I'll let it play. And then we'll move over to that. But this is what Brad Holmes said about the Jared Goff situation.
Your assessment, what update can you give us? I know it takes 2 to announce the extensions of Amon-Ra St. Brown and Penei Sewell right before the draft.
Right now.
Kind of fitting, right? Guys that you had drafted. Adam Schefter the same day reported that no Goff extension was, quote, imminent, that you guys have talked, but it's not close. Is that a fair assessment? What update can you give us? I know it takes two sides, but just your side. Do you want to get it done this offseason, or are you cool waiting?
Yeah, I mean, well, look, first and foremost, you know, he's earned an extension, and it's important. It's a high priority for us, and both sides are working really, really hard, and these things just take time, you know. And this working on not only trying to get an extension done with him, but, you know, like you said, Panay and Saint, it's not something that we wait until after the season to start planning for. You know, like the whole process of budgeting and preparation and all that kind of goes into it. We've been preparing for a while. And look, in a perfect world, we'd have had all three of them done. Bang, bang, bang. You know, but these things just kind of take a while, especially with the quarterback market. But I do have faith that it's going to get done.
Spectrum Business World.
Whoa, okay. They went right into the ad there. Hey, that was clean though. That was clean though, because I didn't know it was ending, and then they went right to. All right. So that's the clip that we got from Brad. If you have not heard it, speaking on the Goff situation. And I think what he said at the end is probably the most important, that like, yo, this is something we prepared for. And obviously what I'm about to show you is nowhere near as accurate, because certain numbers we just don't know. Hey, these guys are falling down. Certain numbers we just don't know from the outside, like UDFA deals, for example. We don't really have we don't have the contract details. Now we can assume where they're probably going to fall. We also know there's some guarantees in there as well. That was the ticket. Yeah, shout out to the ticket for that. But this is kind of an idea, and I was putting this together. Can I share this? Hopefully, okay, yeah, I can share this. Okay, is there a way to? Maybe there's a way to. Actually, is there a way? Maybe I should have saved this and took this. This is gonna be difficult to see, huh? You know what? I didn't really think of that. Okay, all right, all right. Well, if y'all can see it, let me know. Here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna make it big, but what I'm gonna do is I'm going to. And we won't spend a lot of time here. It's just to kind of give you an idea of what I was doing. And I think this is the best way to lay it out. Okay. So can I zoom in on this actually? I don't even know. It's actually, okay. I guess we don't need to. Okay. We'll just start at the top left here, because this is really what this was, man. I should have just screenshotted this, bro. All right. Let me and I'll read it off so y'all know what it says. You're exhausted. Don't be. This is easy. All this is the same players just moved over. So this is serious. This is literally just the contracts that we have. This is the players that we have under contract for 2025 and 2026. Okay. That's all this is. And I have some other examples that I kind of typed in here. But that's all that this is. Okay. So what I wanted to focus on first was not this year. We know he's under contract this year. And if you look at the numbers statistically, he is actually taking up a lower amount of the cap this season than he was last season. I believe he's 9th right now, about 12.7%. So actually, we have a little more cap space than we typically do because of the cap rising, even though his number slightly went up by just over $1 million. But the key here is this: 2025. I just listed guys. So with the Spotrac, I put what their number is projected. So this is a projected salary cap number. Spotrac and Over the Cap have different numbers here. Let me make that clear. So we don't know exactly the number. I think it's more important to understand the percentages, because then we can have an idea. But if we use their projected number, which is $273 million, that's what they're saying the salary cap is next season, right? They're projecting it's going to be 273. And with the Lions rolling over their cap space right now, they could be at 279.8. That's their projection. We're not going to use the rollover. We're just going to use the projection number. So they may have more than this, could have less, depending on where the number goes. It typically goes up. So I think they're just playing the statistics there. So then I listed every player on this left side, and that includes Cam Sutton, his dead cap, also Davis, but I didn't include this 3-point. Carlton Davis. This is actually going to be a 9.8. This is his void year because he's only under contract for 1 year. And everybody else is just their contract next season. Now, the big one will be Frank Ragnow. If he retires or not, that will shake things up. But he's under contract right now, so we'll see. So I listed everybody here. So we go through, bam, there's all the numbers. And this does not include Goff because he's not under contract. Now, when you get through all those numbers, what we're missing is two things. Really, we're missing one thing here. It's UDFA deals. We don't have the UDFA. I'm cooking. Hey, hang with me, man. You're about to like this. I told Brad this. He was like, oh, that's pretty good. The UDFA deals are missing because we don't have the contract details here. But we know that we have a lot of UDFAs that signed. They're going to fill out the roster as well. The thing is with UDFAs, just like Gilmore, if they're cut, they're not going to get that 3-year deal. So if we have certain UDFAs that maybe stick on the team, they stick around for the year and they go into next year and they're still on this deal, they're going to be under contract next season. We could assume that none of them will. If you want to, you could assume that a couple will, however you want to do it. So I just simplified it like this. Let's not even look at the league minimum dollar. Let's just simplify it. Let's say that the minimum to fill out the roster is going to be $1 million a player, because that's typically how they do it to kind of give you that specific number. Like if you go to certain sites and they're like, okay, this is how much cap space the team has if they fill out to the top 51. All right, this is how much money is going to have left over. So that's basically what I did. All I did is I said, to fill out the rest of the roster, let's just give $1 million to each player, right? Because they typically do the minimum. This is a little bit above the minimum, but we also don't do no UDFA deals. So just give it a little, make it simple. So boom, we have 35 players under contract, not including the void deals. And then we fill out the roster, which is of 16 players. Now, the other thing that I included to this to try to give it more realism is projecting next year's draft picks. These will change too, because we're probably going to trade. But if we stayed where we are, it's likely that your first and second round pick are going to count against a cap number, because they're going to fall in the top 51. They're going to push someone else out. But the first round pick next season, it could be around 2.6, 2.5, put it in that range. Second round pick would be around 1.5 million, put it in that range. So those two will definitely likely count if they have a first, second round pick, depending on how many more they have, but that's what they have right now. So if we take that, we take those players and we take the draft picks, we fill out the roster, 18.1 million. Now, no rollover cap here. The Lions would have $84.8 million in cap space. So to say all that, if we take the Spotrac projected salary cap number, we take the players under contract for next season, we throw in the $1 million deals to fill out to the top 51, we add the 2 draft picks that will count towards that cap number, roughly around $85 million. Again, these are going to be a little bit hit and miss, no question, but just kind of a rough number, somewhere around that $85 million range, 80 to 85. Just say that safely. Now, let's just say this. Let's just be safe with it. That's what the Lions would go into the offseason with, and that's assuming they don't get a deal done now. Then we take Jared Goff, and what y'all are saying is what, $50 million? Y'all are feeling $50 million for his cap hit? So let's say Jared Goff has a $50 million cap hit next season. All right? They probably won't do that. If they pay him for 4 years, probably going to backload a little bit. And they have the plans for this, okay? So they're looking at this deeper. I just kind of got started with this, but we'll probably dive into this more because Jordy had a good video idea, and I think we can keep digging into this. But let's just say it was a $50 million cap hit, just to keep it simple. The Lions would then have somewhere around $35 million in cap space using these same numbers. All right. And before you count Jared Goff, that would mean about 31% of the cap is available. Now you have to spend a certain amount because the cap requires you to do that with the CBA. You can't just roll over everything. You have to spend a certain amount. So the real thing here is that after Jared Goff's $50 million cap hit, with the guys under contract, you filled out your rosters with the minimum, you included the 2 draft picks, the Lions cap space would be somewhere around 30. Let's just say 30 million. Let's go super conservative. $30 million, let's say. Y'all saying 50, 55, 49.5. Okay, so we're all kind of in the same ballpark. Let's just say then the Lions have $30 million conservatively, even though the number came out to about 34.8. If they had $30 million in cap space hitting next season after paying Goff, and they had the roster filled, would we sit there and say, yo, we're in a bad financial spot? No, we'd be like, yo, that's not bad. Usually $30 million cap, that's not bad. It's not a lot, but it's not bad. It's really not bad. And again, they won't set the number like that. They'll probably backload it. Again, it could be closer to 35 million. And some of those deals that I have are going to be too high here. So, the Lions will make their cuts. Another thing that the Lions have working for them that I do want to point out before we kind of continue on to what the roster would look like is the Lions have also, as we know, left outs in contracts. So Alex Anzalone is going to have a large out. You could say $5 million with the cut, 2.4 dead money. Dave Montgomery has a large out next season. DJ Reader has a legitimate out, even though there's some good dead money there. So they're going to have flexibility. We know that. And if you look at the Lions, they only have like 6 players with guaranteed base salaries next season. So they got a lot of deals that aren't guaranteed. Okay. Now, the second thing I'll say to that, here's the big difference. So if you're asking yourself, okay, here's the numbers, I get it, but how can the Lions do this? How can the Lions do what they're doing? How can they pay these guys and still at the same time, where are they getting cap space from? The big thing for me is that the Detroit Lions are lowering their dead cap each year. Now, it's going to have some probably again next year. But if you look in 2021, the Lions set a record, over $67 million in dead cap. It was insane. And that was the first year Brad got here. So you didn't really have any pieces, but that was because most players weren't here. You had a lot of cuts and you had a lot of guys that just weren't here. So you didn't have any money to spend because so much was just dead cap. Every year since then, look at how they've dropped the dead cap every year. 34.9 mil, 32 million last season. 2024, this season, 23 million. Next year, let's say it drops again. That'll be key for the Lions to continue dropping down that dead cap. And here's the huge thing. If we move up here, I took another example. Teams, you can go Cincinnati, you can go around the league. Let's just use Patrick Mahomes and his big deal. The Kansas City Chiefs, look where their dead cap is. For this season, $5.9 million. $5.9 million. They don't have any dead cap. They get their players that they pay on the field. Their ability to avoid dead cap has been massive in allowing them to keep paying their quarterback a ton. And they said they're going to revisit this deal in 2026, which means that they're going to, and we'll see if it's true, that they're going to make it work with this $66 million cap it in 2025. They're going to make that work, basically. $66 million. And a huge part of that, and look, it's not like they're not paying anybody. It's not like the Chiefs are out here like, hey, we're only paying Mahomes and that's it. He's got a $37 million cap it this season, which is higher than Jared Goff's by about $5 million. They're also paying Tooney over 10% of the cap. Jawan Taylor, Travis Kelce, Jordan, like they're paying dude, Justin Reed. Their huge thing has been they have dropped dead cap, and the Lions have been doing that since they've gotten here. Now to kind of wrap some of this together here, because there's other little notes to this, but let's just wrap some of it together here. Look at who the Lions would have under contract next season. Look at this list, man. Look at this list, man. Jared Goff and Hooker will be their quarterbacks. Good there because we're paying him. So let's just, $50 million a year. Bam. We'll just keep it simple. Bam. Running back, they'll have Monty. They'll have Gibbs. They'll have Vaki. Okay, that's pretty good. Receiver, they'll have J-Mo, St. Brown, Antoine Green, Khalif Raymond. Tight end, they'll have Laporta, Brock Wright, James Mitchell. Offensive line, Penei Sewell, Graham Glasgow, Frank Ragnow, depending on if he retires. He's going to be the key because like me and Ryan were talking about, depending on a window, it's probably going to depend a lot on what goes on with offensive line. We'll say Frank Ragnow because he's under contract. Manu, Christian Mahogany, and Colby Sorsel. All right, and I didn't go through everybody. Again, this is not including UDFA, so maybe Egu Khan is part of this. Now, you're going to need another tackle because Taylor Decker's a free agent, but Taylor Decker has that void year. Could he be resigned? He could be resigned. He absolutely could be resigned. Like, you could bring these guys back, but that's who you still have under contract. Really, like that list, if you had Frank Ragnow, Graham Glasgow, Manu, Mahogany, Colby Sorsel, and Sewell, you could have 4 of your 5 starters right there. 4 of your 5. Defensive line, you'll have DJ Reader, Aiden Hutchinson, Josh Pascal, and now Mekhi Wingo. Linebacker will pretty much be set. Alex Anzalone, Jack Campbell, Malcolm Rodriguez, Jalen Reese-Maben, depending on if you want to move off of Alex. Cornerback, you'll have Terrion, Rakestraw, Branch. You could have your 3 starters right there with Amik Robertson and Stephen Gilmore still, depending on if he gets cut or not. And then at safety, you still have Kirby Joseph. You need the number 2. The guys that are set to become your big free agents are Ali McNeil. It's that first draft class. Derek Barnes, Levi Onwuzurike. The only guys that are going to probably cost a lot could be Iffy and Ali McNeil. But as I was talking to Rad, I don't think Ali McNeil is going to reset the market at defense tackle. To me, unless he has an insane season this year, I don't think that he's necessarily going to get a Christian Wilkins type of deal. He'll get a plus interior defense lineman. Now, if he goes for 10 sacks, he'll probably do that because that's just kind of where the market is for interior defense linemen. Teams will pay a ton for those guys. But if he doesn't do that, if it's similar to last year, if it just moves up a little bit, probably not going to hit that kind of number. So you have some legitimate free agents that you'll have to pay, but you're going to have solid cap space. If you're hypothetically saying we're paying Goff a ton of money, you're still going to have solid cap space. Your roster is going to be in a really strong spot. You don't have a ton of holes to plug in the roster, and you have a 1st-round pick, 2nd-round pick, no 3rd-round pick, 4th-round pick, 5th-round pick, 6th-round pick, 2 7th-round picks. You still have legitimate draft capital too going in next season. So that is just the first year. Just to give you an idea, if the Lions paid Goff, are they done? No, they can make it work. And as Brad said, they've been preparing for this. They're going to make it work. And again, they'll have outs. Now, this is kind of like an early look at it, but let's just say we looked at 2026. Let's go another year. Let's just go another year into the future. Say we're paying him $50 million a year. Now, here's who would be under contract. Here's a list of pieces that would be under contract. One thing I'll say to this, chat, because I know y'all saw this, and I actually just saw this today. What the Lions do with Penei Sewell is key. So let's move back up here. You guys see where Penei Sewell's cap number is at? $9.54 million. $9.45 million next season. Could that have something to do with knowing that they're going to pay Goff? Potentially. So they, instead of leaving it at the $19 million cap hit, which is, he was set to have about a $19+ million cap hit because what the Lions did with Penei Sewell, if you don't know, they ended up picking up his 5th-year option and then they extended it. But what they did is they took that 5th-year option and they put it into the salaries of his upcoming years to spread that amount out and drop his cap hit down this season. So instead of being 19, it's actually set at under $10 million. I would just say keep an eye on that because in 2026, when the Lions had to pay Hutchinson, could they do a similar thing with Hutchinson? Possibly, right? Edge rushers are going to have a very high number. I think he's been a Pro Bowler once now. He's probably going to push pretty high into that 5th-year option number. You could potentially look at doing the same thing. Hey, Hutchinson, we're going to do it. 5th-year option, extend you, bam, maybe we fold that back into your deal. That's something to just kind of keep an eye on. You'd also have Jameson. For what Jameson's done right now, he wouldn't get a massive deal, but he'd get money because the receiver market, teams just pay for those guys. So he could also fall into a similar situation. So just keep an eye on the Lions following a similar process with the 5th-year options there. Okay, and that's also maybe part of the reason that they're cool with hey, we're not going to pay Peoples-Jones or our number 3 receivers is not going to be a big money deal because we are preparing for Jameson. You take off this year. that you're going to have your opportunity, take off this season, do what you're supposed to do as the 12th overall pick. You take off, that way we can pay you, all right? And then we'll have St. Brown already paid. Once we do that, we can't pay a number 3 big money, okay? Because then you got Laporta coming down the pipe at some point, and then you got we can't pay a number 3 big money. We got 2 dudes, we can't pay a number 3 big money. But if you looked at 2026, and let me just make sure the numbers make sense here. Okay, so yeah, these players that are currently under contract 2026, you have 130 million that's allocated to that right now. With 155 million that would be available. 155 million. So let's say with Jared Goff again, he's getting 50 million. Let's just say he's got a $50 million cap hit. Okay, so now you're down to $105 million in cap space with 19 players under contract. Okay, now let's say the Detroit Lions, $1 million to each player to fill out the roster, get to the top 51. They now have 73.277. Again, these are rough numbers, around $70 million available in cap space, and they filled to the top 51. Now, they're going to obviously have last year's draft picks, which we don't know yet. And then they're going to have this year's draft picks, which we don't know yet. So they're going to have those that fold in, probably push that number a little bit lower, maybe closer to like 65, because you're going to have first round picks that are going to be a little more expensive than the 1 million. But it'll also probably level out a little bit because some of the guys that'll fill won't be $1 million. They'll be like 940K, something like that. But the minimum keeps rising. So somewhere in that range, 65 to 70 million, somewhere right there. And now you got into your top 75, you got into your top 51. You have Goff back under contract. And now the guys that are here that we know of right now is you have your 2 quarterbacks. You have Gibbs and Baki. You have Green and St. Brown. You have Laporta and Wright. You have, again, potentially, if Frank right now continues to play, you have potentially 4 of your starters on the roster. If Mahogany becomes that, or, maybe that becomes Colby Sorso, you could have 4 of your starters still here. Your defensive tackles, you'd have Broderick Martin. Hopefully by this time he's stepping into that role. You'd have Wingo, so you'd have to address that. You're probably paying Aiden Hutchinson that big deal. And then obviously a linebacker, you have Campbell. So you still have your core piece at linebacker. Cornerback, you have your top 3 cornerbacks potentially on the roster. You need a safety, and you still have Jack Fox on special teams with about $65 to $70 million to play with. And that's simply just based on Spotrac and what they're projecting, or Spotrac and what they're projecting for these numbers, because we don't know the exact numbers. So I didn't actually put the percentage here. I probably should have. Now that I'm looking at it, I could do that in the future. But basically the point is, I think that the percentage is what matters, because again, the top 51 with no rollover, and you're not paying Goff yet, you'd have about 31% of your cap would actually still be available. I think this is the key. 31% of your cap would still be available, and you would have your top 51 filled, and your roster would still have most of your core pieces at every position. Then you just add Goff to that, and let's say he's 15% of the cap. You got 16% of your cap still available, and you've already paid your guy. So the last thing that I'll add to this, we had the contract outs that we have under contract. The last thing I'll add to this is this, just kind of an idea. So as I said, his cap percentage is actually dropping this year because the cap rose. So he's at 12.6%. Last year was at 13.7%. And what we already know, we went to the NFC Championship with him making 13.7% of the cap. He was taking 13.7% of our cap, and we made it to the NFC Championship. And the Lions were also, let me get the exact number here because it's kind of wild. The Lions also had $32 million in dead cap. They still had $32 million in dead. They weren't like Kansas City with 5. They had $30 million in dead cap still. So if we can continue to just slowly drop that number, well, now it's at 25, we continue to just kind of work that number down, you can make this work. And then also, just for fun, I found this article today, so I just thought I'd put it in here. Of the 29 quarterbacks to win a Super Bowl since the cap era to 2023, and this was not including 2024, 14 of them were the highest paid on their team. Since 2010, only 3 quarterbacks on rookie deal have won a Super Bowl. Again, this does not include last year, but he wasn't on his rookie deal. For a while, it was no quarterback over 13.1% had won a Super Bowl. And that has to go back to like the beginning of the salary cap, which if you're just looking at those numbers, maybe that's like, hey, maybe this is the year to do it because Goff is at 12.6. He's under that number. But Mahomes did it with 17.6 in 2023. All right. Most time it comes in the range of 10.6 to 12.3. So statistically speaking, I understand we could just call them outliers. Like, oh, it's Mahomes and Brady. But statistically speaking, the numbers are typically going to fall majority of the time in the quarterback's getting paid between 10.6 and 12.3. The important thing about this is I'm saying $50 million per year, but it's probably not going to be that. If the Lions backload, depending on where the cap goes, it may never get above 12.3. It probably will. But I don't think my point is, I don't think that's important. And I think we saw that this year because it's all about timing. And as long as the Lions keep timing this correctly, and I think that's the next thing that we can dig into because that's what Jordy was asking about. If the timing is if they just continue to time it correctly and they continue to drop this dead cap, they'll be in a spot where it's like, okay, 13% versus 12%, who cares? 14%, who cares? Right? We're in a spot where maybe Aiden Hutchinson, we folded your 5th year, bam, you're making like Penei Sewell. That's super reasonable. I mean, like I said, look at the Chiefs, man. Look at the Chiefs are paying over 10% to Joe Thuney. All right. So if it's at 9, what does that deal look like? I mean, if he's making $9 million, where would that fall on? Like 4%, 3%? Like that's nothing. Okay, we can work with that. So the point is, like, you can make this work as long as the Lions continue to time it out correctly. And I think that's what he was talking about the back end, is that's where they're working on the timing. So to me, that's the next thing that I want to dive into, is kind of understand the timing more and maybe what the Lions have done. But hopefully this made some sense, chat. I mean, look, some of these may not be exactly accurate, right? Obviously, a lot of this is kind of just projecting numbers, but I think it gives you the sense of like, okay, this is possible. It's not one of these things where once the Lions pay him, they're done. It's over. Unless you made like 80 million a year, or if you made 60 million, 55, 60 million a year, and then he was just bad. If he just became a bad quarterback and he was just like Jameis Winston, like, yeah, you'd be in trouble. Or Russell Wilson, you'd be like, okay, Russell Wilson statistically wasn't even bad, but you'd get to that point where it's like, okay, this might not be good. But as long as he continues to play that he is, you're going to be fine with that. And I was also talking to Easy about this. I don't think it would have to happen, but if you just said like, hey, let's say everything went bad. If everything went bad after you paid him, like, could you not trade him? I mean, look, unless he was coming off such a bad season where you literally had no value, it'd be hard for me to believe that this guy would not carry any value. I mean, you could just trade him. You take the dead cap, you put Hooker in. Hooker's not getting paid anything. You're essentially just taking all the dead cap, and you're just saying, okay, you're still paying basically the same money for Hooker, but for one season. Then we move off it and we're done. We got a draft pick for him. Like, we've seen teams figure out ways to get out of things. It was like Broncos can't do that, and then they did. They're like, okay, we're going to do it. We're going to eat it right now. We'll move forward. So you can do it if you're not paying a quarterback, and the Lions could potentially have that option to hand Hooker. So the last thing that I wanted to show y'all is, and let me find this. It was about this Goff situation, because I put together like why pay Goff thing. Now, great info. Hey, I appreciate it. Staying fighting. Hey, Brad doing his thing. I appreciate it, brother. Hey, he doing his thing. ADM, between Nate Wiggins and Terrion, who did you like? I had Terrion cornerback 1. I loved Nate Wiggins. He was my cornerback 2. But I didn't think Nate Wiggins was a schematic, or I should say a culture fit for the Lions, maybe. Not that he couldn't tackle. He was a very effective tackler. He also had some of those great rundown plays. He had 2 this past season. But I thought that personally, Terrion was more of a line. I didn't think the Lions would draft Nate because I didn't think Nate wanted to stick his nose in. It's not that he couldn't. It's just that he didn't feel like he wanted to. It's almost like one of those things, like, it's way easier for me to pull you back than get you going. It kind of gives me that vibe. So I personally, I take Terrion Arnold as my number 1 cornerback. And I'm not just saying that there's videos of. You can see my video before the draft. I had him as corner 1. I also updated the graphic before the draft. Cornerback 1, but I did love Nate Wiggins. I thought Nate was the dog. Sutton, $6.5 million, shows up his dead money. Okay. And see, okay, wait, one second. Let me come back to that. Because okay. We have clips actually. So I'm going to show you guys this this graphic. And then I want to put the clips to it, because here's the thing. Like, we've talked about Goff a lot. And, I could say good things. I could say bad things. I could say things that I like, things that I don't love about the quarterback as well. Like, I can do those things. But one thing that, or things that he needs to work on, or just areas that are weaknesses. But if you're trying to make a case, like, let's just say Lions were like, hey, make me a case of why we should pay this guy. And this isn't like a full-on breakdown, right? I'd have to show you film. I have to show you plays. Like, I like this about him. Or I like when he did this past season. Or I like this throw against Kansas City where he fitted into Josh Reynolds and he was sitting down. I love that. And he did the same thing against Chicago weeks later. I love those. Or, how well he performs when we need it and things like that. But here are some of the things I think you could point to. And if you just look here, I put specific game examples just to kind of, boom, put this in our minds. Like, let's just remember recent examples. 2023, Tampa Bay. Had no run game in that game, 40 yards rushing, 22 carries. All right. In that game, Goff went 30 of 44, 353, 2 touchdowns, no picks. Won that football game. It wasn't pretty, but we won that football game 20-6. And that's just, you have to win in different ways. We were able to win in a different way that week. Typically, we usually run for over 100 yards. And that's awesome. All right. Like, hey, wherever you're at, thank you, Lions, for now having 100-yard rushers, bro. Or not even just individually, just as a team. As a team, we usually have 100-yard rushing as a team. That's awesome, because for a long time, we just never had those. So, yes, we do that often. But for him to show an example of not to, it's great. Offensive player of the week. Oh, I didn't even know that. Okay, I see you. I appreciate that. A little nugget to that. Here's another one. LA Chargers last year. I thought it was a good example. Won a shootout. So winning a different way. 41-38. Goff was 23 of 33, 333, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions in that game. Not the best defense. I thought, their coverage was very questionable, but it's another way to win. Minnesota. Here's what I put at the top right here. So y'all won't be able to see it where I'm at right now. I'm going to do this real quick. See in the top right, answered the Flores issue. What issue was that? If you go back and look at what we talked about going into those games, he had issues with Brian Flores when he was with LA. The Dolphins was one of his worst games. They blitzed the heck out of him. They blitzed him every single play, and my dude had no answer for it. No answer. With Sean McVay, the genius had no answer for it. I'm playing. But the truth is, we're playing Minnesota. Maybe not the same defensive talent. It wasn't the most talented defense, but in both games, Jared Goff was pretty darn good. He was pretty darn good, right? The first one, 30-20 win, which I think was the one that we ended up winning the NFC winning the division. We had 70 yards rushing, 3 yards per carry as a team. He went 23 of 33, 32, 320, 2 touchdowns, no picks. And then as I put it at the top right, which I'm blocking again for some reason, the other time we played him, he went 30 of 40, 257, a touchdown. That was the first time we played him. And I was like, oh, that was awesome. And then he was able to back it up. So we were able to handle that, right? Carolina, no St. Brown. Now this one, Carolina wasn't good. We didn't have St. Brown, but it wasn't good. It was just another example. Here's the other statistical thing I'll look at. Last minute and second in half. I think this is one of the strongest arguments you can make for Goff because he has now done this for multiple seasons. And it's not that he's giving you the dynamic play, right? It's not that he's giving you maybe the 40-yard shot that Stafford might give you. But what he's doing is he takes care of the football typically outside of the Dallas pick, even though he came back and then scored the next drive. But what he does, he really attacks teams that like to play back. Anybody that likes to play 2 deep safeties, they want to prevent, they want to play cover 2, cover 4. Anybody that wants to sit back, Goff really has a lot of success against that. You have to stay on him because anytime a team just starts to kind of like, I thought Dallas did that. I thought they should have lost because of that. They play their defense. They play switch man all game. Then all of a sudden, at that last drive, they're like, let's play 2 deep zone. Goff was like, cool, we're about to go score a touchdown. And it made it look easy. He eats that up, all right? And you can also see the same thing before half. And the stats showcase that. This season, last 2 minutes in a half, first or second, 6 touchdowns, no picks, 104 pass rating, completing 65% of his passes. 2022, a little bit worse, but you like to see the improvement. 60%, 5 touchdowns, 1 pick, 93 pass rating, basically. And then I just threw some other examples on the right side here. Chicago in 2022, we had that comeback. Again, we didn't really run the ball extremely well in that game, but it was a nice comeback to the last point that I made, which was, being able to, I think in this game specifically, that was the one where he had the Tom Kennedy play. So, kind of off topic there. Jacksonville, that was one of those games I can remember because I was talking to Rad. I think he did this against Arizona too. Maybe it wasn't against Arizona, but I remember Jacksonville talking to Rad because it was like, hey, can he throw it 40 plus times to win? We threw it 41 times in that game, and he went 31 of 41, 342 touchdowns, no picks, with only 3.3 yards per carry as a team. Minnesota that same year, nearly 40 attempts, 2.9 yards per carry between our running backs for 77 yards. He went 27 of 39, 330, 3 touchdowns, and we won by 11. So I think those are really strong cases for him. And then I would also do this. Now, this is where we're going to kind of wrap this discussion because, again, you can definitely have Knox here. His stats in the fourth plus minus 7 points are even better. Ooh, dang. Okay. Hey, yo. Okay. I didn't even know that. Antoine Green breakout year. Hey, that's your guy. If you don't, Charles, if you don't have the jersey, I don't know who will. That's what I at least need to do the tape thing and be like, hey, put Green on the back. That's all I'm asking for. I just need a picture to see that. Okay. People really hang on Easy. You can't. No, shout out to Easy. Look, bro, I want to get Easy back on here. I think we're going to hopefully have Easy on here next week because the schedule is dropping. So we're planning to have Easy on the show. I don't want nothing official yet. We're planning to have a couple of dudes on because maybe hopefully Rad. All right. We've been talking to him. Hopefully Rad. Have some dudes on for the schedule drop. No, we're not going to be there maybe live when it initially drops because I'm going to be on Bleacher Report instantly. But afterwards, I want to do a show over here. So, bro, stay tuned for that because that's gonna be pretty fire. So I hope we can get a few of the guys together for that one because that's gonna be pretty fire. We're all excited for that. But no, shout out to Easy, man. Hopefully we're able to make that happen. But y'all know I'm a Goff guy, so I'm gonna come on here. I'm gonna make case for Goff. Y'all just know that's the case. However, why pay Goff? So this would be the last thing I'd point to. Third downs. All right, you can point to fourth quarter this past season, which was really strong. You can see the first in yards, 72% completion percentage, 7 touchdowns, 3 picks, 102 pass rating. And third downs, he's been really good as a Detroit Lion, right? You can see it last season, pretty strong, nearly 100 pass rating from 4 to 7 yards, 109 pass rating. And you can see the numbers, 5 touchdowns, 1 interception. Pretty strong on third down for the most part. 8 to 10 kind of dropped off a little bit there, but that was kind of a weird one because there wasn't really that many attempts. And then 2022, you can see he was pretty strong again statistically. So there's that. I also really like him against the blitz. And I think those numbers show up too. Did I put those numbers on here? I don't think I put those numbers on here. Oh, I did. Okay, here's the blitz stats. Okay, before we go to the middle, check out the right here. Versus the blitz in 2023, 64% completion percentage. He was second in touchdowns, 14. He did have the 6 picks, which is too high. The issue with even touchdowns and interceptions is that You really have to look at what happened there, but it still is too high. Second in yards, 96 pass rating. I can rock with that against the blitz. And then even in 2022, really strong against the blitz, 104 pass rating, 13 touchdowns and 4 picks, 68% completion percentage, first in yards again. So he's gotten blitzed a ton, and he's usually been successful. We've kind of been on that. And give credit to Ben Johnson, the offensive line too. But the other thing that I want to hit on here is under pressure. His statistics are not good. And this is one of the easier spots to kind of knock him. And I'm not going to say he's good under pressure because he's not. But my point is that nobody's good under pressure, not consistently. That's not to say you can't have a good game under pressure. Goff had good games under pressure. He had really bad games under pressure. Most of the time, the variables are going to shake out where Goff is not going to be good under pressure because he doesn't bring much of a dynamic element where he's going to break the pocket and then do something. Usually when you see Goff under pressure have success, what he typically does when he's under pressure is his process just speeds up. He's just trying to get the ball faster. So if he's going to break the pocket, he's just going to try to throw it away, but he just speeds his process up if he feels pressure. That's what he does. Good or bad, that's what he does. For other quarterbacks, they can allow themselves to get more dynamic plays because instead of just speeding up his process and just trying to throw the ball faster, they'll move around. They'll get out of a sack. They'll take off. They'll fire it downfield. They'll push it into traffic. They'll be able to throw it away, or sometimes it feels like Goff can't even throw it away, right? He doesn't bring that. So like my man says, no quarterback under pressure, constant pressure is good. It just isn't, right? Because there's so many variables to it. Now you can have a good stretch. And the reason, and to put this in perspective, Goff had 9 drops when under pressure, according to PFF last season. Mahomes had 8. So I just want to throw that out there. That can't be a reason for this. Look at Mahomes' stats under pressure last season versus Goff's. 6 touchdowns to 9 picks, 50% completion percentage, 61 rating. Mahomes, 5 touchdowns, 8 picks, 49% completion percentage, 61.5 rating. All right. They're essentially the exact same. Now, again, I'm not here to say Goff is good under pressure or I would take him under pressure over Mahomes. No, but it's just a different process of how he does it. And to even kind of, because these numbers are so small, right? Because of how like small of a sample size this is, I went through every game last season to look at every interception that he threw when under pressure. Just to see what happened. And some of them, I remember them all. Some of them, I'm like, okay, I don't know what he was doing there. Other ones, I was like, okay, you can understand that. So for the fun of it, I'm not going to show all of them, but let's just show a few of them. Let's just show a few of them. And let's just have some fun. Let's just show a few of them. Okay, let's do it. But you can see the list of them right there. And I actually noted on the right side a lot of the interceptions that took place and what the play actually was. But yeah, I'm going to show you guys a few of them from last season. And these are, now I will say, the one that they have against Dallas, I don't think should have counted. And this is, we'll see. I don't know. Maybe PFF just does it different. But with SIS, like we wouldn't count you as under pressure if it was a screen because you're allowing pressure to get through. And I believe that was a screen interception against Dallas. So and the other interception there wasn't pressure unless they thought there was. I didn't think there was pressure there. So unless I think they were saying that the screen was a pick by pressure, which I wouldn't have counted. I would have said it was an interception, obviously, but I wouldn't have counted it because of pressure because because it was a screen. Like we would never note that. But anyways, that's besides the point. I want to show y'all this. What's the difference between being under pressure and blitzing? Doesn't he excel versus blitz? So the difference is, and he does, he is like, so the numbers, I should have left it up there. I'll show it one more time real quick. Then we'll go to the clips. You can see the numbers on the right side against the blitz, right? They're really strong. The difference is blitzing just means that you're bringing 5 or more defenders. That's all that it means. Whether you actually get there or not, you're just bringing 5 or more guys. Pressure means you impacted the quarterback, and it could come in a lot of different ways. A pressure, by the way that you used to chart it, meant that you either had a quarterback hit. It meant that you either had a sack. It meant that you had a pressure, which was a hurry, as they like to note it, right? Where you can visibly see it affect the quarterback, whether that's speeding up the process, footwork changes on the play. When you see that, that counts as a pressure. So if one of those 3 things happen, he's pressured on the play. There has to be an impact. There has to be a result on the play. Or even a knockdown counts as a pressure. So if it's like right after the throw, he got knocked down, that'll count as a pressure. Those things all kind of get put into that category. Blitz doesn't have to affect the quarterback. It just means that the defense had to have brought 5 or more defenders. It had to be some sort of a technical blitz. That's it. So if they brought 4 and it wasn't a blitz, it's not a blitz. Even if it was a disguise look, but if they only bring 4, it's not a blitz. Why is that he struggles for Chicago and Dallas, but teams like San Fran, he shreds them? So to me, I think a lot of this is type of defense. Plus, San Fran, I didn't think their cornerback play was great. To me, I think it's type of defense. Dallas plays switch man. We did a video on that one. Feel free to go check it out during the season. After that game, they play switch man. when we struggle, like I said earlier, like we usually struggle a lot against teams that plaster and man coverage. We need more man beaters consistently, but it also then makes it where you're not waiting until someone hits a hole. Typically, you're waiting for the matchup to win based on the timing of the offense. So maybe I'm running a dig route and he's one-on-one and I know it, but I have to wait for that to happen. And then I either have to trust that he's going to be open, or if he's not open, like someone has to get themselves open. But they're all like, I know that it's not going to be like this hole's going to be there if I wait, because I know that he's rolling down, this guy's moving here, and there's the hole in the zone. So if I move this guy, I can just put it out to that zone. So I think we typically more so struggle against man than zone. We eat up zone, even though most teams play zone. And I think that's why it's so important the Lions added man corners, because now they can shake up. This is why I say, I'm telling you, this is a perfect example. I know I said this in the last stream. Green Bay, when we played them the second time, Jordan Love was, I believe it was about 50% completion percentage against man coverage against us. In zone, I think he only had 2 incompletions the entire day. He was like 12 of 14, 13 of 15 to start that game. It shakes everything up for timing within your offense if you can't get that first guy open. And it's kind of the same thing that dials into pressure. If the first guy is open, then pressure is going to really struggle to become a factor, even if you're blitzing. But if you cover the first guy, now they have to find a second. And in zone, you can find the second based on what coverage you're going to. Hey, they're in this. This is going to be the next spot to get to. Or this is going to set up, this is going to pull that guy, so that guy's going to be there. In man, that first guy's not there. That second guy better win. You still have timing, but that second guy better, because now if he doesn't win, now I'm in trouble. So I think the Lions' ability to shake that up, now you can kind of take away with just more so a timing offense in the rhythm, and you're going to make guys have to go beat you. And I think that's where the Lions feel like the man could be a little bit like their run game. So who are the man beaters in the offense? The man beaters statistically were Josh Reynolds was pretty high on the list. St. Brown's been our best. Josh Reynolds was our best for a stretch last season, but it was St. Brown for a lot of the year. I believe Sam Laporta is a man beater because of his matchups. You also see it in red zone. I believe he's a man beater. I think he's a guy that's upright. He's going to be our best man beater outside of St. Brown going forward, because he just gets matchups that he can dominate one-on-one. And I think Jahmyr Gibbs has that in him too. We just didn't really see a ton of it last season, but I think he's got that too. To me, the man beaters are the guys that you can find matchups for. Peoples-Jones, like if you watch certain spots they put Peoples-Jones in, physicality. He can out-muscle a guy. You can stay contested, but I can run a level 1 drag, but he's going to have the physicality to just separate at the catch point. I can run a dig because he's going to push off and separate. Like he may not get away from a guy, but that's how he's going to create a separation. J-Mo creates man-to-man separation through crossers and drags. I thought he struggled getting out of the top of the route and separating there, staying with route strength at the top of the route. But what he could do is if you pulled him on a long route, like you got him on a deep crosser, he could just run away from coverage. So I think he created different ways. This though, so again, just to kind of wrap this whole Goff situation up, I do want to show y'all some clips. Oh, okay. So just got rid of that one. All right, good. Okay. I want to show y'all some clips here. And as y'all are going to see, here were some of I didn't put them all in here. Again, I could talk about the other ones. I just didn't have every clip. Here was the first one. This was against Seattle. Believe they were calling this the pressure. I think it was the only interception in the game. So they're calling this the pressure. You can see it hit his hand there, but the ball came out a little funny. I still believe partly that this may have been a communication issue. This was week 2 of the season. A lot of times against zone, we would see Gibbs kind of just sit down and curl. Instead, he kind of ran the angle here. I don't know if that's what it was or if it's just that the ball came out weird. That was the one interception. So, we'll see on that one. This second one here against Green Bay, they went into cover 3 defensively. And I thought Goff just, you could see what he's trying to do. I think he almost tried to no-look this. You can see the flat defender here. This is what Green Bay likes to play a lot of cover 3. So the flat defender here, Bam, which is Rudy Ford, he tried to hold him initially with the out, like we talked about. He tried to pull him out of the play with the out, and then he tried to come back middle, and now it was McDuffie right here, and I think he was looking down here to try to hold him so he could open up that dig route right behind the zone. The issue was that Ford dropped off he didn't stay with Gibbs, and that opened up, and I think that's because Goff's eyes got too quickly off the route. Then when the pressure came in, he kind of tried to just no-look it and trusted it was going to be there, and he floated off. It was a good play by the defense. This one, I still don't understand what was happening. It was 4th and 1. Goff took the shot to J-Mo. It wasn't going to be there. This one had to be some sort of breakdown, or it was just an awful throw. Like, I don't know what happened. I've seen this many times through the All-22. I still don't know what was going on with that play. This one was a late throw by Goff, which was set up by Amik Robertson taking away the curl route. Goff wanted it as number 1 read. Then the pressure broke through in the middle, and Goff threw it late, which would have been open early, but it was not there late because he's moving, he's rolling that way. The quarterback could just drive, and that's what he did. He drove on it. Peters took it back to the house. The flip side is, though, again, it was Amik Robertson that actually forced us to get away with it. Chicago then had 2 interceptions, which the first one sort of a heave. The second one was just clearly a heave. So this is where the numbers can skew you, because we're looking at, okay, well, 9 interceptions under pressure. It's terrible. You could honestly say it's about 7. You could safely say 8. This one, you ran, I think they kind of ran the, if I remember, they ran the corner and then the vertical route, I think, and they were just not open through the All-22, so he just forced it. This one was this in there? Oh no, this one is just a throw that I liked. I just like the throw. I love these throws from Goff. Plus that was under pressure too. I love those throws. Those are my favorite, man. I love those. And Josh made some big time grabs on those. We need DPJ, Antoine Green. Hey, you're going to have to bring some of that. All right. We need some of that body control. This was the other one though. 4th and 24. I mean, this is clearly a heave. Like it's under pressure. Yes, he got hit, knocked down, all those things. But this one against Chicago, the other one, it was the slant. Okay, so we're talking about what do they do? Chicago likes to play cover 3, so they roll into it. They bring the cover 3 blitz. They're going to get a free rush here. Sewell steps down. Goff feels the safety, so he's going to try to hit the slant as that safety passes through with the linebacker middle field. But Laporta gets bounced off his route, can't run through it, and then it's picked off. Probably should have been a PI. So you have to put perspective to these things. I'm not sitting here arguing that Jared Goff is good under pressure. He's not. All right. But I am saying most quarterbacks aren't. The larger the larger the sample size gets, the worse that it's going to look. All right. So you're not going to get good play there consistently. You're just not going to get as many good flashes from Goff in these spots, because when Goff is going to be successful under pressure, he's just going to speed his process up, find the back quicker, get the ball out of his hands. You're not going to get many plays like maybe against Green Bay, which I don't even think there was pressure, year one, where he broke out of the pocket and hit steep to steep. You get like those rare occasions. So, that's what I really want to touch on there with the whole Goff situation. It's reasonable. But even if you look at like PFF, who charts these, they've made articles in past saying you can't judge a quarterback based on how they are under pressure because there's too many variables. Because if you did, you would essentially say Jared Goff and Mahomes are the same dude. If I'm judging on pressure, they're the same guy. Mahomes was trash under pressure too. Look at the numbers. No one can do that. You can't do that because it's like, this is not good. So I will say, bad reads. I would say for him, he speeds up his reads too much because he's not going to get out of the pocket. So he speeds it up, and that's when he can start to throw a ball into spots. Maybe not there, just kind of trusting that it's going to be like the Packers one. Like, okay, I know what they're in, so I can just speed this up and throw it. Even if it's not actually there, he'll just trust that hopefully it's going to be there. And that's where it gets you. You kind of, because he's just kind of forced to speed it up or just kind of take the sack on the play. So you're going to have limitations there, no question, if you re-sign the guy. We know that. It's also the reason right here, 5 for 6 guys on the line. It's the reason that we keep investing there. It's the reason that we should. Chad, I'm going to do this. Let me know who takes a bigger jump, Gibbs or Laporta. Has to be Gibbs because Laporta took off already. I would say Gibbs. Dude, Laporta's they're so darn good. Laporta's such a matchup piece, but Gibbs to me will expand as a route runner, and he'll also already do what he did towards the end of the season, which was kind of a slow start as a runner. He's going to have those things. He's going to pop immediately, so I'd go Gibbs. Here's what I'm going to ask y'all, because I don't want to do a poll for this, but I'm curious. Let me just see where the chat goes with this one. If you would rather the Detroit Lions, let's just say hypothetically, invest in an offensive lineman or a third receiver outside of St. Brown and JMO for Jared Goff, what would you do? Put a 1 for the offensive lineman, 2 for the receiver. And I'm not necessarily saying for what we have right now, because right now we have our offensive line intact, right? You could obviously say receiver because of what we have. But in general, if I just said, hey, any offseason, we need a receiver 3, we could upgrade our offensive line. With Jared Goff, you're going offensive line. You go because you have Saint. You already know that where Goff is going to win, like y'all are saying, he's going to win between the numbers. Everything's condensed. We do all condensed splits. He's going to win between the numbers. I got to protect the guy. As long as I protect the guy, we're going to have a shot. Because as soon as the pressure starts to become overwhelming, now we're in trouble. Because he's not going to have escapability. But now we have to go back to the right. Like there's not going to be escapability there. But I know if that I can pull back that pressure, someone's going to get open at some point, usually, and he typically gets to the right spot, and we see that because he's so good against the blitz. He's been so good against the blitz, and credit to Ben, but they've been so good in those spots. Yeah, no, that's fair. Hey, I will say the issue with that question is where we are now. Like, we don't really need an offensive lineman now, but I almost say that like before the draft, right? I would almost like, because I would say just in general, the philosophy, it'd make it more simple if I said, as a philosophy with Jared Goff, would you rather the Lions invest heavier in offensive line or receiver? If I just said that, most people would say offensive lineman then. That I think is the better way to ask the question, is to just say, what would you rather the Lions put more investment into? Like, what would you rather them kind of build around Goff with? More emphasis on offensive line or receiver, it'd be offensive line. But especially now with what we have, knowing that we already have Saint, knowing that you already have that dude that you paid, it's got to be offensive lineman. But yeah, no, that was on me. That probably wasn't the best way to word that question, because you're right. Right now I would say receiver 2 to be real, because we're good on offensive line. But I mean, we could use it. We could always use another backup tackle, a little center. Hey, I ain't mad at none of that. Would you say Goff is too one-dimensional throwing up the middle? Goff critics will say he's lackluster elsewhere. I love how you worded that. No, I love that. I felt like an interviewing question. What I wait, I didn't even, I'm sorry, I forgot what the question was. What I say he's too one-dimensional. So I would say this. I think, statistically speaking, historically, we've seen that his numbers usually come back very strong, throwing it vertical, throwing it on the outside as well, throwing it to his right side. He's usually, I mean, guys, you remember the dime that he threw to DJ Chark? Like, he's really good on those 3-step drops, put it up, right? The fadeaway passes, like we've the back shoulder throws. He's good at making those throws. Obviously, the Lions want to win between numbers. I'll say it's not that he's one-dimensional. It's like, obviously, he's better between the numbers, a little bit closer, a little bit faster. I think he's just more consistent from those spots. You're not asking to push the ball, especially outdoor. If it's indoor, I don't think it's as much of an issue. You start to go outdoor, he's going to want to live between numbers. That would be the biggest concern, I think, is outdoor, poor weather. Can he continue to expand the field out wide? And you could argue that that's where you get your issues. I think for the Lions, knowing that, it's why they invested in, think about what they've done. Let's say we go to Chicago. We're like, man, it's pretty jacked up today. Okay. We're going to try to get a couple throws out wide. And that could be why the Lions are saying, hey, we really like Peoples-Jones. He's physical. If you watch any of how Peoples-Jones won this last year, he won off the line or he won with physicality. He just bullied a guy, right? It was like, he's not necessarily separating, but within 10 to 15, I mean, the guy, he's just too big. That's how he won. Even against Dallas, they tried to do that. But it's also the Lions saying, hey, if we're not going to win there, because if you think back to Baltimore, right, when they played, again, a lot of these teams play cover 3, so they're taking away, they can give up the seams, but a lot of times they're playing one-on-one out wide, and you have to be able to win there. We didn't consistently win there, and I would say as a team we have to get better, not just Goff, but as a team we have to get better because at times like we just weren't coming through. It's like, we have to be able to make a play on a comeback route, which I will say, Trequan Smith, big comeback route guy. All right, I'm just throwing that. I actually have clips of Trequan Smith if y'all want to see it, but it's also to me a big reason why they invested in Jahmyr Gibbs and Sam Laporte, guys that are so dynamic. Sione Vaki. If you got Vaki the ball and you just swung it out to him, I mean, it's still wide, but you just swing it out to him against Chicago. The dynamic ability there comes from getting the ball in his hands, letting him go. I was watching back that Chicago game. We're talking about pressure. There was a 3rd and 10 in that game that we lost, one on the road, and we ran a screen to Jahmyr Gibbs on 3rd and 10, and it would have been an easy first down. That's the value they had. Now, he dropped it. Him dropping it, we end up punting. But that's where you can add value for him, is that it's almost like for Brad Holmes, he understood, and he understands better than I think anybody, what it's going to take for Jared Goff to be at his best. And I think it's a huge reason he invested in such a dynamic back. It could also just be that they love the back. That's fair. But I also think that he understands, like, if we get a dynamic running back next to this guy that can just make plays with the ball, if we do that, this is going to help him a ton, because now we're going to stop talking about, like, can he take off? Like, no, he doesn't need to. Let's get it to the guy that should be taking off with the ball. And I think as he continues to expand that receiving game, that Tampa Bay game, that was like, thank you. We're finally throwing in the football. That was the game. Baltimore was like his breakout game. We lost. But at the end of the game, he started to pop. And where did he start to pop? Receiving. He was making great grabs. I remember in training camp, he called a wheel route, like contested 3 guys all over him. And it was like, that's the guy. I think that is what's going to make it special. When we did our draft breakdown on Gibbs, I had a much higher grade as a receiving back than just a running back. I thought his receiving ability is what could shine. And I still think that's in there. It's just taking a little bit of time there to figure it out. But I think that'll be the huge equalizer that the Lions are going to be hoping for. But like I said, Trequan Smith, I bring up Trequan Smith, and the reason I bring that up, because I actually have some clips from here. So I'm going to show them just because I have them handy, and we have not talked about him yet. So I'm just going to it's only like 4 clips. But we're probably going to do a video on this guy. I was actually thinking about, like, should I do that next instead of Mekhi Wingo? I'll have y'all tell me what you want to see. But let me show you, because I think this is one of those other guys. We could do a shorter video on it that we just shouldn't overlook. We shouldn't overlook what Trequan Smith, him in this competition, because we haven't really talked about him yet, but he's here. And you're going to see him. Only a few plays here. Here he is in the slot, this vertical shot. You see the tracking ability, which, again, I think the Lions lost a lot of that without having Josh. You see the flash there. Again, he's a pretty nice body catcher, but I thought that he was just inconsistent with his hands once it got outside of his frame, though he carries incredibly. He has like almost 34-inch arms. Like, he's extremely long. The body type makes a ton of sense. Here he is on this sort of a back shoulder here with the cornerback, right? He's not necessarily dynamic, but he is a strider. He's not necessarily really shifty either. He's tough after the ball gets in his hands. Here was a drop, but you see him again from the slot. I didn't think he was a great route runner, but I thought there was some nice pacing here. He kind of slow it down, boom, utilize good, quick footwork to get out of that break, create some separation. He actually dropped that pass, by the way. That's why I'm saying that. And then here, kind of sinking down middle of the field, we have to have that football intelligence. You saw a lot of usage there for him, which was kind of those football intelligence spots. Like we actually got to see a lot of those spots for him. Okay. So yeah, well, the next thing would actually be Vaki. Let's save that. I've showed too many dang Vaki clips on here, so let me, let me save that. Will we have answers for Chicago's defense this year? I can't take another Goff game from him. Yes, bro. Hey, all right. Hold up. Oh, hold up. I gotta give a shout out here because we just got a huge dono, man. I didn't want to overlook that. All right, my man. Prospects now with Avery. Oh, my man. Hey, yo, what's up? What's up, man? It's Spirit of Detroit podcast here. Definitely want to do a video with you, man. Hit me up, man. Okay, let's do it. Let's do it. Let's do it. Hey, I appreciate you joining, man, with the 50 piece. Let's do it. Now we need a good topic. Or we could just do a show and just chat. Like, because I know we're going to have differing opinions on a lot of stuff. Either way, for me, it works. I'm down. I appreciate you, man. Dang, it's showing the love, man. What? Hey, I appreciate you, man. Had to use the other account to pay for this, man. Hey, yo, I appreciate you, man. That's showing a lot. Hey, can we get some birthday cakes in the chat for my guy? Showing some love. Can we drop some birthday cakes in there? We haven't got a good run on birthday cakes in a minute. We need to pick that up. We got to pick that up. But yeah, let's make it happen. Let's make that happen. Do I have your? Oh no, I got you on X. Okay, I'll message you on X. I just followed you, I think. Okay, I'm going to message you on X. We'll make that happen. I appreciate you, man. I wanted to show, what is this? I wanted to show this, though, because this was the last thing that we really haven't hit on that I came in with. This is, it was in the title, so I got to show it. And I just want to get your thoughts, man. We don't really need to dive into this too much. We can see it. But it was kind of the question I asked at the beginning, like, hey, who would be that? Now the birthday cakes are rolling. I was waiting, but I was stalling a little bit. Like, we need some birthday cakes. JT, hey, y'all are doing it. And you put 2 birthday cake lines in there. You're the dude. Hey, I appreciate you. I would comment birthday cakes too, but my thing does not show birthday cakes. I don't know. I thought I could. Oh, wait, no, I can. Hold up. Oh, I can search emoji. Come on, man. Let's go. That's what we like. Hey, this is what we like to see. All right. I appreciate y'all. This is the graphic the Lions posted. I think the Lions or like Adam Schefter posted it. Lions draft pick jersey numbers. So what stands out? If y'all have not seen this, what's your favorite number? Rakestraw at 15. I'm not mad at that. Like, I don't know that I necessarily dislike any numbers in the teens there. I feel like any number would look fire on Rakestraw. I would love him to wear number 2. Because I thought it was so nasty in college, but anyone's cool. I want to get his college jersey anyway. Vaki's clean. That's a running back number. I was talking to Rad. Rad said this was his number. So he's like all on board with this. So I think we've really talked about, I've been trying to talk him into on the phone. Like, yo, this guy's gonna be a special running back. Terry Arnold wearing the 0 because he's different. I got you on that one. Giovanni Manu, he's wearing the 59. Again, he wants to be the next best Polynesian offensive lineman. I think I'm pronouncing that right. And he also like right there with Penei Sewell. So we went 59, which we're going to have Sewell wearing 58, right? If we put Manu at right guard and he's wearing 59, is Graham Glasgow not number 60? I feel like, and then at left guard, right? We may have to make Mahogany 61. Like by that time, we're going to make this work. We're going to make, and I'm saying Glasgow, depending on if he goes to center. We're going to figure this out because, 59 and a half, that'd be crazy. If there was half number, wait, should we add half numbers? Hey, Chad, no, I'm playing. Okay, but Mahogany's got the 73. That feels like a Mauler number. Logan Stenberg was 71 though, right? That feels like a Mauler number. That makes sense. And then Mekhi Wingo wearing that 94. That's an interesting number because that feels like an interior defensive line number, right? It kind of does, but actually, no, it doesn't. No, it doesn't. That feels like a defensive end. Because now I'm thinking like what Cameron Wake, did he wear 94? Josh Pascal wears like 90 or 91. Okay, there's like a lot of things in my mind right now. I don't know what I'm saying. Point is, all right. I was watching Wingo today and I was like, this guy. I saw that part of the Manu quote. So maybe I missed another part. Is there another part that I missed? I could pull it up. Golden on the defensive side of the ball. Hey, yo, take a play defense. No doubt. Hey, yo, hey, yo, we're going to have to. Hey, Ziggy was 94. Oh, Jonah was 73. Okay, that's why that was in my mind. Okay, that makes sense. Can we please spam the birthday cakes again? Can we? Hey, we have to do it, chat. Look, man, I'm just being out. We have to do it. I'm going to get it started for y'all on this one. I'll get it going because he's showing crazy love. We'll figure out a show. I want to introduce you to. Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Sounds fire. Let's do it. And now, hey, yo, StreamYard doing their thing. We could even do this both shows at the same time. Shout out to StreamYard, man. They're doing work over here. No, let's do it. Let's absolutely do it. Sounds great, bro. It sounds great. I appreciate you. The birthday cakes are rolling. Someone said something about having diabetes. Wait, what'd you say? A lot of diabetes in the chat, bro. Hey, I already got it. So you know what I'm saying? I already got it, bro. We've been doing birthday cakes for years. It's already got me. Manu one number away from Sewell. Yo, that's what I'm saying. We just need Grant Glasgow 60. So if he plays center, we needed 61 and 6. It'd be fire if we had the numbers across the board. I just think that would look so like appealing to the eye when you see it on the broadcast and they snap it and you see all the numbers like in order. The flip side would be when someone steps in and all of a sudden he mixes it up. Like my left guard is wearing he's wearing like 70. Then I'm like, bro, what are we doing? Like we'll just play with 4 offense. Fine. Go sit down. Like this is not going to be right. But anyways, I think that'd be fire. Why do you think we get to pass happy? First half Chicago, we gash them, running game, and then we start the third quarter and forgot the running game. What's that about? Dang, I really don't remember, to be honest. I remember that talking about this. I don't know which Chicago game you're talking about either, to be honest. We have breakdown videos of both of those games. I know we definitely did, especially because of the interceptions. So I would say check those out. I don't really remember on the top of my mind here. I could check and see which one you're talking about. I don't really remember extremely well, though. Like, I feel like there's always a reason to it, especially when we look at the All-22. Sometimes maybe there's not. Typically, when we see those situations where, like, you know, we'll watch it and we're like, bro, Ben, you're getting too cute or something like that. Then when you watch it back and you see the All-22, you're like, okay, I get the idea. We just didn't execute. Like, I feel like a lot of times it comes back to just not executing. And personally, like, as a guy that I think that we should pay, and it sounds like we're going to, I don't have an issue with putting the ball in his hands. But I can't understand that if you're winning in one area and the team's struggling in another area, like, yeah, don't go away from that. Even though you paid the guy, you don't need to go away from that. Maybe that's one thing with Ben is that he can get a little bit too cute. I don't know if too cute's the word. He can maybe just pull a little bit away from what's actually working. But for the most part, like, I think Ben's insanely incredible. I think he's incredible. I think he's truly incredible. I got it too. Oh, you got it too? Hey, yo, hey, we both been. Hey, that cake, man. Not for real. Hey, yo, for real though. Okay, I'm sorry. We got completely off topic here. Dallas game had you ripping your hair out, bro. We were all right. I don't want to go back down that road because I was watching a replay of that today for this one, and I was like, okay, I can't with this. But yeah, if y'all are just joining me, I asked the question at the beginning. I am curious though if you haven't answered. If you can pick a rookie, whose jersey do you most want to have? I want Rakes. I'm gonna get a Rakestraw Missouri one. If someone finds that, please, man, send me a link. I really want to get one of those. I think that's gonna be so clean. I love the way they have. Like, I don't want something that's like completely off brand though either, because I like the way that the logo looks and stuff. I don't know if you can even buy those, to be completely honest. All right, let me make sure I didn't miss anything here. So, Dan Campbell's also going to miss rookie minicamp for personal reasons. I read that. I didn't really dive in anything there. I don't think anybody has any information beyond that. Hopefully everything is okay there, man. That never sounds good. You hate to hear that. So, we'll keep an eye on that one, but just, hopefully everything's good with Dan Campbell because, he wants to be there. So hopefully everything's all right there. I don't know what it is though. So I can't really speak on anything else there. We showed the Holmes golf clip. What is this one? Jersey numbers. We looked at that. Rakestraw. Okay. The other note, as someone brought up, as we were talking about, I think he'll play, in the nickel. I think he'll compete there for us immediately there because he's going to have an opportunity to get snaps. But today he was seen doing that. As he talked about, he did it as a freshman. But I didn't even watch him as a freshman. I watched Rakestraw this past season, and that's the only season I had watched when I did my breakdown. And you'd see him mix between inside, outside, especially depending on matchups throughout games. Now he missed some time. He's coming off of, I think he had core surgery. He has a groin injury. He had a torn ACL a few years ago. He's had injuries, so we know that was part of it too. But he was a guy that would throughout the game mix inside, outside. So I do think that is that he plays well there because he plays with a lot of anticipation. Like my favorite aspect, and I know I said it when I originally went through him, was just the way that he would just step in front of drag routes, step on top of routes. That anticipation I thought was huge, and I think that translates to slot, especially for man coverage. And obviously he also played in a very zone heavy scheme. So he has a lot of zone ability. And as I told y'all after the draft, one thing that I liked about Rakestraw is if you were looking at my grades between the 3 different coverage types, he actually would have had a higher grade than Trequan Arnold, though Trequan Arnold hit the critical factors out of the park and Rakestraw didn't because he had the ball skills, he had the play speed, he had all those things. Rakestraw, but as being coverage versatile, man coverage. You want him in off, you want him in zone. He was great in zone. I had a great grade on him in zone coverage. So he's going to be able to do all those things. Do you think we should consider more up tempo, no huddle third? I do like when we go up tempo. I mean, I think pacing has been something the Lions have tried to make kind of a key factor. Sometimes it kind of gets minimized to just, hey, we're going to go to sugar huddle, quick snap, let's get out there and go. And I've seen a lot of teams, college and NFL, start to kind of implement that. So I always love when they do that. And actually, if you go back to the touchdown against Tampa Bay, the Lions utilizing, and it wasn't necessarily up tempo, but the Lions essentially changing up the cadence for Jared Goff and speeding up that process led to Jameson Williams' touchdown, as the defense was late to rotate and they were late to get over top, and Jameson caught that touchdown. The Lions ended up kind of changing up how Goff took the snap off the line versus how they did it all game long. And I know we broke that down to all 22, so you can find that specific clip. That is one thing that they've done, those little nuances. But no, Goff is good up. Like I say, he's really good. Like we talked about 2-minute drills. He's really good against teams that like to play back, and he's great in those situations. He takes care of the football. He just gets it in the playmaker's hands, and he typically avoids the clock running because he tried to do too much. He took a sack, or he threw the ball to their other team. He's usually pretty good with just taking care of the football and understanding, hey, we have enough time. We have enough time. If you think about our first win with Jared Goff was a last-minute drive scoring a touchdown, and it was essentially all underneath passes. We have enough time. We have enough time. We're fine. Just, you guys make the plays. And Goff is he's like the typical point guard you would build for the 1990s. He's that in the NFL. I think that's a great way to look at it. He's that. Not flashy athletically. He's not going to try to make the big play, but he's just going to distribute the football. You'll get some good, you'll get some bad, but he's going to distribute that football. He's tough as heck, which fits the 90s or whatever era, 80s, 90s, whatever you fit. It's tough as heck, and he fits that perfectly. That's who he is as a quarterback. And it's perfect because we know how to draft weapons, clearly. I mean, we got one of our best players in the 4th round. What does Jack Campbell need to improve on the most based on this rookie season? I thought Jack Campbell, he finished the season extremely strong as a run defender. I think him playing more off ball just made him better because he was able to kind of get consistent reps in the same role. I think for Jack Campbell, it's coverage. Not necessarily he needs to become a better man coverage piece. I think his movement skills are actually pretty sticky. You'll see safeties that can't stick like that, but it's more so in zone coverage. I just want to see him play a little bit beyond kind of the coverage drops. I want to see him finding receivers more than finding spots. I think kind of just being more natural in coverage will open that up. Now, if we're playing more man, you may see less of that in general. But that'd be the big thing for me. If he's on the line of scrimmage, that just needs to improve as a whole. But it's more so for me in coverage, just improving in that aspect. I also think, and even I thought this coming out of college, he doesn't carry a lot of length, which kind of hurts him. Obviously, he has a different body type. He's about 6'4.5", 249. He's massive. But I think his shed process could absolutely speed up, maybe even getting heavier hands at that point of attack. That could speed up to get off of blocks. I still think that's an area that could get faster, even though he was kind of known as that coming out. So those two things specifically. Who do you want to play week 1? I'll start. Give me the Bears. Hey, give me the Bears on the road. Give me the Bears on the road, bro. If it's the Bears, give me Chicago on the road. Give me good weather. I would take that. Yeah, no, I don't, to be honest, I'm cool with starting with the division game. I do think, though, you start with a division game, it can kind of give you you're playing a team very early and you may be better than that team, but they got you because it was week 1. I would almost if I was going to play a division team, I would rather play Minnesota week 1. I feel like Minnesota week 1 with their quarterback trying to figure that out, they'd be extremely beatable at the beginning of the season. So for a win, I would prefer to go at Minnesota. Let's play Minnesota week 1. And let's go get a win because I feel confident in that. I feel very confident that we beat Minnesota at the very beginning of the season. I have a ton of confidence in that matchup. Chicago could be tricky because their defense is probably going to be already rolling and they're going to be playing fast. Our offense should be in a pretty good spot by the beginning of the team, but their defense will already be probably in a good spot. So I'd rather play Minnesota, who's kind of trying to figure out their defense. They're going to play fast, but they're trying to figure it out. I'd take that in week 1 because I think that'd be a win. Houston versus Detroit would be disgusting. No, that'd be disgusting. We won't get, I don't think, the opener for the season, even because we didn't win a Super Bowl. I guess that's all they do now. We should, though. Us against Houston. We play Houston, right? That'd be amazing. The league hasn't sent a Chicago before November in years. Oh, okay. I did not know that. Does Levi Onwuzurike make the team? Well, I'll tell you this. He's going to compete with Pecco. I think he does make the team. I think Levi has correctable issues. like after last season, just playing faster in general. I think he just needs to improve his play speed. But I also think Peko needed to improve his play process. Now, he's back with his defensive line coach, so that's going to help him. And he's shown really good flash. If Peko's at his best, it's going to be hard to beat that guy out, I'm going to be honest. But I think Levi coming along last season, he still gives you pass rush upside. He gives you enough pass rush upside that he can say, I'm there. I'm right there with Peko. Like there's no gap here. If anything, I'm better, but he could say I'm right there. If Wingo plays more defensive end, he's going to make the team. I think Levi makes it. I think as long as Levi's healthy through the offseason process, because if he starts missing time and missing preseason, he can't prove himself, he'll probably not make the team because he's going to have to get snaps. But I would bet on him making it. I'd bet on him making it because he improved last. He just needs to improve his play speed. And I think he just needs snaps. But I think that he's a correctable spot. He's in a correctable spot for a backup. He still has the 1 year left on his deal, so I don't think the Lions are in a rush to get off him. Bears at home, Sunday Night Football. Caleb's come back to where he was drafted. Bears at home. That would be nasty. Look, hey, I ain't mad at it, bro. Y'all want the Bears? I ain't mad at it. Let's do it. Hey, I'm not mad at that. I'm not mad at that. I mean, I'll be fired up either way. I like to see Indy. I'm worried about Indy because I feel like Indy is going to be, like I said, they're going to be in a good spot. And, Richardson will be healthy week 1, so you won't have that. You won't have like, oh, they don't have their quarterback. But Indy week 1 in Indy, I'm not mad at that. I don't know that they'll give them a week 1 game, but they were pushing getting in. We'll probably get a home game because of how we finished last year. I would assume that they're going to want that. They're going to, for sales and stuff, like, they're going to put us at home. But honestly, does the NFL like outside of the first game, do you think they'll put like games that they don't think will do the big ratings not early in the season? Like, do you think they'll do that because they're just expecting that, like, hey, NFL fans are going to be watching week 1 anyway? It's like, hey, middle of the season, things kind of get quiet. That's where we need our big games. Like, do you think they might do that more so? Because if we're not going to get the opener, which we probably won't, they might just be like, hey, we'll give them like, we don't need I don't know. I could be wrong. Maybe they'll want like the first week to be the big week or something like that. I don't know. It's going to throw a few. I'm saying I like to play Indy early, especially with that offense, because when that offense is clicking, if Richardson is healthy throughout the year, I think they'll be difficult. They'll be really tough. They're freakishly athletic, and their defense is really in a process right now. But I will say they always load up on their D-line, and that's strong. I will say though, if you play them week 1, you're likely going to have to play Richardson, which is not great. Because there's just health concerns there, and the same thing with guys like Latu, to be honest. But I'd probably take them week 1. Bigger games midseason for real. Is that normal? I don't know. I could just be throwing stuff out there. It just feels like that would make sense that you would do that. I don't know. It's week 1. You got to start with a bang. All right. Hey, man, maybe that's like we opened with San Fran, right? We opened with San Fran 2 years ago or 3 years ago. It was first with Dan Campbell. But was that like, did they view that as like, yo, this is going to be like a banger? Like, yo, Lions 49ers. Like, yo, they had to have that spread like 7.5. But we were bad at that time, right? We were starting. The next year it was, who was the next year? Hold up. Lions schedule 2022. I'm blanking. I'm blanking, man. Who was it? 2022. We went 9-8. This was Eagles. That's not a bad match. Like, I don't know if that's it was a great matchup. That one felt a little bit more fire. I mean, we were coming off a strong finish, but were they viewing that as like, yo, this one's going to do the numbers? Like, I don't know that they were. Last season, it was Kansas City. We were coming off a strong ending, a very strong finish, and they were just coming off the Super Bowl. So, would this make sense that the Lions would give us what they thought the Lions were going to be in 2021? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, could they look at the Lions and say, hey, let's give them like that game that we don't think is going to be that close. Like, let's give them the game that we're probably going to favor the Lions by 7. Let's make it that game. Maybe they'll give us that one week 1. Because they'll be like, Lions are going to draw attention. Let's give them the bad team week 1. Because everybody's going to watch anyway. Even the bad team, they're going to watch because it's week 1. I don't even know if we have a bad team on our schedule. But, like, if there is a team like that, could they say, like, yo, that team's not maybe going to draw the most pop, but it's week 1, so everybody's on board. Maybe something like that. No, Rams would be fire. It absolutely will be. Every team the Lions have opened with in the DC era has made it to title game at least. That's actually kind of a nasty stat. That's a nasty stat. I don't know. I think if I had to predict, it's going to be what I just said. I think if I predicted, they're going to give us a team that they think that they can favor us the most against. Maybe outside of a division team, even if maybe it is division team, maybe it's Minnesota because of that. I think that's what they'll do because they know that the other team's going to watch this week 1, and for us, we're going to draw attention because we were so good anyway last year, and we're not going to get the opener. So, well, unless they gave us like a Sunday night game to open, because if it was the Rams, they would put us, I think, on what Sunday Night Football week 1, and then Thursday night will be the Chiefs. They could put us on Sunday week 1. We could beat the Cardinals, so maybe something like that. Well, think about this. Remember, we would always play the Cardinals in the past, like week 2 or something, like very early in the season. We'd play the Cardinals because we were like kind of similar. So if they gave us a big time game, we might get prime time at the beginning, even if it's not the opener. We'll probably get a prime time game, or it'll be. I here to be my guess. We play Minnesota week 1. Week 2, we'll play the Cardinals. Charles, we'll play a team that's like not going to draw that much buzz. Maybe. I don't know. I almost feel like that should be flipped. I don't know. They haven't lost to Arizona in years. Yo, my favorite game against Arizona. I mean, the last one was awesome because we were there. I still love the Kenny Galladay just cooking Arizona. I can remember that, bro. The amount of highlights I used to watch in that game. Oh, that was such a good game, man. Oh, my goodness. 35-14. Come on now. There you go. Okay, there you go. So play, and then, you got your division games that they would sprinkle in there, right? Now, maybe not. So, see, Buffalo's in the AFC, though. So I hear what you're saying, but could they put Buffalo week 1? Because, yeah, it would affect both teams. I hear you. I don't know. Why do we always beat the Cardinals? I'm thinking back. Like, I don't know what the history is with the Cardinals. I'm thinking of, like, the games that we would lose against. Yo, because I feel like it was, like, mixed. And now maybe recently we're like winning those games because they're struggling a little bit. But I feel like it used to be mixed. But no, last year 2021 Lions won. 2020 Lions won. That was the Patricia win. I remember that one. Yeah, Jay, I remember that. The field goal. That was where we had a huge lead, right? And they came back, but Hawkinson was cooking. Is that one? No, that wasn't that one. Year before we tied. That was the one. Hawkinson cooked in 28-19 and we tied. Bro, hey, the worst opener of all. Chat, I'm guessing we're going to open with Arizona. But we were good last year. Why would we open with Arizona? Nah, take that back. We're opening with a bad team. We're opening with a Minnesota. We're playing Minnesota week 1. That's my guess. But, oh my gosh, we tied. That was the worst way to open a season. 17-3 was 2018. That was like was it Prater there? 23-35. Okay, I lied. 35-14. I'm just making stuff up. 35-23 was the Kenny Galladay game. So I'm just making stuff up. And then it was losses. 2015 we lost. I remember that was at the end of the season. That one was bad. I remember that one. We put the backup quarterback in. 2014 we lost. I remember that one. I think we were 7-2 at the time, or 7-3. It was them and the Patriots who played back to back, and that was when Carson Palmer was there. Okay. Hey, yo, they had NFC Championship preview. Nope, that was actually last season, which was awesome. 25-21, 2013. I don't really remember that. 38-10. No, was 38-10 the game that we put the backup in? Oh boy, both of those are bad. That might have been the one. I remember one of them I ended up leaving, but I was young, man. I don't remember anything beyond that. Okay. Anyways, I'm sorry. We're going through random stuff. Have you watched tape on Lawrence Strickland? I have. Not a ton. So I posted a video first look at UDFAs. So feel free to check that out. I talk a little bit about every UDFA signing. The next thing I have to do is dive into these. Here's what I'm thinking. I want to dive into at least some of all of the tryouts that we have and just at least have notes, even if I don't put a video. That way, if one of them makes it or one player stands out, we can have some kind of like basis. There's like 15 players. I have the list, but I haven't dove into them yet. And then I want to dive into each UDFA individually, but just for time reasons, we got to hit the draft picks first. So we'll probably go to Wingo and then we'll keep working through that. And then the process is probably go draft picks first, and then we'll either mix in or just go right to free agents. But here's the thing. Some free agents we kind of broke down when we signed them. So I'm probably not going to go through all of them. So certain free agents will have longer videos. Certain will be like 15 minutes. Hopefully, I usually say that's not the case. Something like that will be kind of a more simplified breakdown. I want to do one on Carlton Davis because I don't think we've done a Carlton Davis video, though I've watched like 4 of his games already from last year. So something like that. And then maybe mix in a few UDFAs. But I definitely got to get through the draft picks. That's first. I got to get through those. How many close stadiums do we play this year? I don't know. Eric, okay, before we wrap this, you guys are talking about all these things. Let me see who our opponents are. I don't know on the top of my head, actually. I've only looked at this a few times. So I know we're going to play a lot of similar teams. Oh, okay. I see you, Tim. How you doing, Tim? Okay, this is not the best. Tim, look, hey, how you doing? But that's not the schedule release date. So next Wednesday, we're going to be live on Bleacher Report, by the way, Wednesday when it drops. And then we're also hopefully going to be live that day with a couple of special guests over here. So stay tuned for all that, man. Link will be in the community tab when we're live over there. Okay, but so these are the opponents, and this is not the schedule, chat. This is not the schedule. Hey, I appreciate y'all saying to like the stream, man. I appreciate it. This is not the schedule. This is just the opponents. So we got the Bills. Man, and Bills would be pretty fire. Chicago, Arizona. Yeah, we got Chicago. Okay. We got Dallas. It's at Dallas again. At Lambeau. You know that. Oh, man. Houston would be a nasty opener, actually, though. Yo, no. If we were going primetime, here's the only issue, though. Kansas City also, I believe, plays Houston this year. They might give Houston and Kansas City the week 1 game. That would make a ton of sense for that to be the Thursday night Houston, Kansas City, because they're going to say Houston is rising. They're next up. And this is like a preview of the AFC Championship. I would assume that my guess is that'll be the Thursday game. So I don't think we'll get that one. Colts, I think that would be a really good week 1. Plus, if they go there week 1, shoot, I might be at the game, man. I was at the Colts all year last year. I might just go to the game. Minnesota, San Fran. Dang, bro, our schedule is tough, dog. Yo, there's like no bad teams on here. Titans, baby. Tampa. Tampa's okay. I don't think Tampa's great, but Titans are legit now, man. And I think Will Levis he's solid. We'll see. We're about to find out. Seattle. Yeah, Seattle's gonna be. We'll have to figure what that's gonna look like. They have a good roster though. Their defense is strong. Rams, Jaguars. I mean, when healthy, they were 8-2 with Lawrence, 8-3. Yeah, we got a tough schedule, dog. Oh my goodness, bro. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness, bro. Hey, I'm here for it because most teams got to play that, but we playing the ones down this year, chat. Hey, how about that, bro? We've never seen the day. Well, maybe we have. Yeah, in the 90s. I've never seen the day. We're playing the ones. We got the ones, man. You won your division. That's who we got. I love this. It's actually beautiful. As much as it's like, dang, that's tough. It's also like, hey, we deserve to have the tough games. Like, let's run it. Oh, I forgot Arizona. Wait, is Arizona? Okay, Arizona week 1. Let's go. Let's get a dub. Chat. Arizona week 1. Favors by 7.5. Let's go get the dub out of the way. I'm telling y'all, I want to start with a W. I think we take Arizona week 1. That's hey. Yo, no, I really do think my prediction, I'll say we'll get Minnesota first. I think we play Minnesota first, probably in Detroit because is Arizona in Detroit? No, it's not. I think they'll play Minnesota at home to open the season. That'll be my guess. And they'll try to hype up JJ McCarthy in Michigan. It'll be in Detroit because we're coming off a good season, so they'll want it to be fired up. We're playing the NFC West. Okay. Wait, are we? Oh, yeah, Cardinals, Seahawks, Rams. Okay, 49ers. And then we're playing the South. Is that, yeah, we're playing the, well, no. Yeah. No, that's AFC. Hold up. No, we're playing the AFC South. AFC South? Yes. So AFC South and NFC West. I cannot speak. What am I doing? He loves that Cardinals. This is true, though. Ryan, that's a good point. That's a good point. I don't think they'd put us at AZ, though. Would they come to AZ dose as a good time? Wait, JT, you in Arizona? Man, I feel like I should have known. I feel like you've said that before, though. I just forgot. Hey, I would love to go to Arizona. All right. I would. All right. I like going to warm places. But if it's in Arizona, JT, if you go to the game, man, I need you to send me some picks, dog. Okay. I just need a few, send over some stuff. He's 8-1 versus Arizona. Okay. So, yeah, I'm cool with that being week 1. Arizona or Minnesota week 1, bro. We're handling business against either of those teams. No question. Hey, they might give us, honestly, though, sleeper, Tampa Bay. To run it back, they could call it a playoff rematch. Baker Mayfield's back in town. You run it back with Tampa Bay at home again. There's some buzz there. They might want to save that for more of like the playoffs. For like, hey, when playoff, when the playoff picture is getting closer, because they're going to be battling for the top seed there with the Saints probably. But bro, hey, either of those, Tampa Bay could be interesting. Tampa Bay could be good. Lions a good team, not worried. The good thing is the other teams basically got to play these guys too. So AFC South. Oh, gosh, I can't say South. Okay, I can't. No, I can't. I don't know what's happening. AFC South. This would be disgusting. This would break the internet, by the way. Lions Texans. Oh my goodness, the amount of viewers would be insane on that. Bears at home. Caleb returns. Ryan, if this happens, Sunday Night Football. Oh, okay, I like that. See, that does feel like a Sunday Night Football game though, because here's the point, Ryan. Here's your point. My camera just turned off. All right, my camera turned off. Here's what I'll say while we get that turned back on. A lot of people will say that Chicago is like next up. Probably more people will say that than Minnesota. I said on the heavyweight show that I thought that Chicago is going to be the biggest threat, not the Green Bay Packers. So knowing that, they might view it the same way. Chad, they might view it the same way and say, hey, look, that's the up and coming team to what y'all are saying. That's actually a good point. That's actually a good point, because they feel like they do that. They try to take the up and coming team and then a really good team, and then okay, my camera is trying to die. So we are is it actually, I don't know what's going on. I think it's gonna die. I don't know. Green Bay schedule technically harder than us. Ooh, okay. I like to hear that. Lions versus Cowboys in Dallas to get revenge. I would absolutely love that. That would be like a party. That'd be like a party to get Dallas week 1. Yeah, no, my camera's struggling. Okay, I gotta stop sharing stuff. I think we hit everything that we needed to. I'll just say that. So yeah, chat. I mean, look, hey man, y'all were showing. Yeah, my camera's dead. Y'all were showing a ton of love. I'm gonna end it like this. Stay with me, all right? Stay with me because I got some questions to ask. Hold up. I got some questions to ask. So y'all were showing a ton of love, man, on the breakdown videos. I'm sorry we're doing it like this. I'm sorry. All right, y'all are showing a ton of love on those. So those will continue. I do appreciate that, man. It seems like y'all do like those. And I want to continue those with the draft picks. So stay tuned for those. We're going to go through this. I'm sorry. I don't know why I died. We're going to go through those. That's next up. Wingo's next. Do this right now, please. If you're in the chat, give me a player that you want to see one of those kind of breakdown videos on, even if it's not the long draft pick ones, or if you want me to just skip around and go to a different draft pick next and not, because you guys were saying Arnold. I definitely want to do something on Trequan Smith and Carlton Davis. So if y'all want Carlton next, I'll do Carlton. Like I can mix it up. I'm down. I'm cool with like getting off the script here. I'm really cool with that. So free agent or draft pick. Probably not UDFA. I don't want to do a full video on UDFA because I want to make sure I get everything else first. But one of those two, I'll do that next. It'll be the next video. Rakestraw. Ooh, man, I can do Rakestraw. Terrion Arnold. Okay. See, you bet on Terrion. Okay, you saying Rakestraw too. We might do Rakestraw then. I like Carlton Davis a lot. I like that one. Vaki would be nasty. See, this is why I'm asking you. Here, let me do this. I'm going to put a poll up before we wrap this. Let me put a poll up. All right, and y'all can vote. I'm going to put a couple names just to get a sense of where you guys are at. Start a poll. Oh, damn, I only can put 2? Oh, no, I can put... Oh, okay, no, I can put 4. Okay, hold up. Okay, here... Okay, so here's the poll. I'm going to put Davis. This will be the next one. I put Davis. I'm going to put Rakestraw. Ooh, I'm going to make this tough. I'm going to put Arnold. And I'm going to put Vaki. I spelled it Bakey. Okay, hold up. Delete that. Bam. Wingo. Now, Wingo's actually supposed to be next in line. So if I just decide to keep it to kind of what we've done, I'll just go to Wingo. He'll be next in line, so he'll be soon regardless. Yeah, no, I think Vaki's going to be a great running back, bro. I'm telling you, I think he's going to be awesome there. So I like that too. You love the analogy. I appreciate it, man. I'm glad y'all like those because I love doing them. I know they take way too long, but I love doing them. Wow, 0% Carlton Davis. Okay, all right. Rakestraw, handling business. I'm going to give it like a minute. So make sure y'all vote on that poll. And that way I know what to do next. And we'll do that. We'll do whatever, wins this. I'm in Albuquerque. Oh, you in Albuquerque? What's it like at Albuquerque, man? I want to go there. I was at Dallas 2 years ago. And going again this year. Oh, that's fire. That's fire. Now I want to go to Albuquerque because y'all have like the rocks and stuff like in your yard. Is that sounds so crazy? Nah, like it looks nice there. The mountains in the background. Man, I want to go there. All right. Everyone loves Rakestraw. Yeah, hey, yo. Hey, Vaki came back. Yo, hey, yo, I might have to show some Vaki highlights on the way out. Vaki came back. We didn't even put Manu on the list. We'll have a video at some point on Manu. Chat, real quick, while y'all are voting, we did our Bleacher Report show, and you guys can go check it out on the page right now if you want to, because we do talk about certain guys, and the video was like underrated Lions. So if you guys want to hear about underrated Lions, Vaki is in that video. Go check it out. But I also included our long snapper, Hogan Hatton. All right, I included the long snapper. So just so y'all know, if that doesn't inspire you, I don't know what will. But you can see I'm playing some Vaki clips. Maybe this quality is garbage, but maybe y'all are buying in a little bit. Might be cheating a little bit here, but Vaki looking nice. He looking nice. Uh-oh. Hey, he looking nice, bro. All right. Let me see where it's at. Here we go. Okay. We are 43% Vaki. All right, Vaki. I feel like I cheated a little bit saying the clip. Davis and Rakestraw are right there. Rakestraw was cooking early. Yes, very little grass, beautiful mountains. Food is the best in the country. Okay. Hey, I'm on board for that. We don't have the best food, but Tennessee has some fire food. Okay. Hey, I'm happy to hear that because I want to go there. Yeah, I want to check it out. Vaki unexpected. People not rocking with Terra. No, people ain't feeling that. Many people tell me this guy's too slow. Needs to stop. The video will come though. We will address this. But Vaki is a warrior. Hey, Rakestraw's still working though. I almost don't want to end the poll. All right, chat. 30 more seconds. I'm gonna put a countdown. That way you have something to look at other than just my logo here. I'm gonna put a countdown. Anybody in the chat? If you're on Twitter, I appreciate y'all being here. Or if you're on X and you're watching, I don't know if anybody's watching on X, but if you are, how you doing? You can still chat. I think I could see it. If I can't, get in the YouTube chat, man. All right. Here we go. Oh, snap. All right, we're gonna reset. Bam. There's a timer. Start it, man. All right. Oh, we got a full screen. What? They got a full screen? Okay. Get your votes in. Here we go. This is so weird, man. Okay, let's. What are we doing? All right, this is not how I expected a lot. When I got live today, I was like, this is how the stream's going to end. We're going to have a timer on the screen. All right, I'm going to have my logo in the corner. I did cheat. I know. I cheated, bro. I did cheat. He's nasty, dog. I'm telling you, he's nasty. Yo, if that was the running back room in the future, him and Gibbs, I'm on board with it. All right, final poll. Vaki won. Someone voted off of Vaki at the end there. Vaki's going to be the video. I think it's Sione. I'm going to have to figure out how to say his name. No one really calls me out usually for saying people's name wrong, except for my guy that said I can't English, which he's not wrong. But I do all the time. All right, man. I appreciate y'all joining. Stay tuned for that. Don't know exactly when that happened. Maybe this weekend. We'll see how fast we get kind of dive into that stuff. But definitely know this offseason is going to start to get busy. OTA's in a couple weeks, so we're going to have to it's difficult because I'm not actually there, but we'll have to we might just do live streams for that stuff, to be honest with you, because I don't know that I want to do videos on those. We might just do live streams. But yeah, things get busy, so we got to dive into those. Appreciate y'all joining. I will see y'all soon. All right. Appreciate y'all hitting the likes and the dono. Hey, the donos, man. Y'all went crazy. Man. My man Avery, my man Vision Stealth showing a ton of love. Everybody that stopped in, everybody on the X side as well. Appreciate y'all. And I'll see you guys soon, man. Have a great weekend. That is a direct self-quote by Udos. Now, this is true. Hey, look. You're right. I did say that because it's true. We out. I'll get my camera.